Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a brand new week of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much. Tonight, we are getting into aliens. We are getting into ghosts, UFOs, haunted houses, intuition, and one of my favorite topics, telepathy. Dr. Kelly Schutz is going to be here momentarily, and Dirty Filth will be joining her on the cartoon realm, in whatever realm he actually lives in. But first, before we say hello to all of, to bring them in, let's say hello to all of you. We got Race Fan in the gold medal position. Logan L. taking home the silver, with Penny Van taking home a bronze medal. Roy Boy, Human Carl. Human Carl is here, not to be mixed up with Alien Carl. Yes, Human Carl's a great veteran of the United States Air Force. Thank you so much for your service, Human Carl. We very much appreciate it. Lisa C., how are you? Good to have you here. Renee BK, how are you? Brown Dwarf. Jeffrey DeRuin returns. He'll be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Les Paul Holland, Third Rock. How you doing? Good to have you here. Brown Dwarf, once again. How are you, man? And where are we? Oh, there he is. All the way from Stockholm, Sweden. Wearing number 11 in your program. Number 1 in your hearts. Starting on defense. Lars Janssen. Paradox Fossils, how are you? Typical Skeptic, thank you so much for kicking off this Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you so much. Midwest Night Watchers, Paradox Fossils, how are you? Dirt Road, nice to see you. Sibylla Irwin is here. She'll be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. There's Jenny. How are you, my dear? Susie B., how are you? Chris Mo, Shiro, how are you? And where are we? Oh, Millennium, and another great veteran, Dennis Zuniga. How are you? Yes, he puts a meme or an emoji of a fist, says that's me punching the elderly this Black Friday. That's right, America. Do not forget, you are 96 hours away from literally the brawl for it all. We call it Black Friday around here. You've disappointed us the last couple of years, America. We need this. The world needs this. So get ready. Stop the online shopping and tape up those knuckles. Get ready to rip toys from children. Get ready to push people off televisions. We need this, America. We need this. W. David Page, how are you? Good morning, Stephen Finnegan. Thank you so much for the super chat, my man. How are you? D. Cohen. And it's the birthday girl, Anne Celine. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anne. Happy birthday to you. The lovely Kira, how are you? Nice to see you. And who else is here? Awesome Ann B. Paramarv. Vash the Impaler. Nice to have you all here. Richard Elmore, thanks for coming on in. Hi, Pixie Laura. Pink Volo, how are you? And where are we here? Eyes Wide Open. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Space Exposure. Kevin, nice to have you both here. And Nancy Thane, welcome to SOR Chat on your first visit. Very much appreciate it. John Marshall, welcome to SOR Chat. Hi, gorgeous Heather McIntyre. How are you? Bigfoot Rob, thanks for coming on in. Judy of Gaul. And, there's a super chat from Steven. Thank you so much, buddy. Nice to see you. And write that down. Who else we got here? Let's see. We're scrolling. Annalisa, how are you, my beautiful friend? And where are you? Let's see here. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got aliens. Little Timmy Senor, thank you for that super chat, buddy. Appreciate that. Good that we'll have Tim on with the UFO report later on in the show. Desert Rat, good to see you. Samantha, thank you so much for the super chat. Very much appreciate it. Remember to brawl for it all, Samantha. That's what it's all about. And Harry Man, welcome to SOR Chat. Good to see you. And Pamela Batarai, welcome. I probably butchered your name. I'm sorry if I did. Dirty Filth, good to have you here. Latro, thanks for coming on in. All the super chats to kick it off. We really appreciate it. Horns up. Let's rock. Central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show and our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just hang out with Chive Charities, help make people feel better today. All right, here we go. We got a great, impactful show for you tonight. Dr. Kelly Schutz is here talking ghosts and aliens. In hour number 3, we're going to head to the swamp. Then Tim's back for the UFO report. Shirky Poo will have the news. Dr. Kelly Schutz is no stranger to experiencing unseen energy. She has sensed the unexplained paranormal extraterrestrial phenomena since the ripe young age of 9, with her abilities beginning around 3 or 4. Known as an experiencer and citizen researcher, to date, she has encountered 100-plus paranormal and 3 to 4 perceived extraterrestrial visitations with what appears to be no end in sight. Kelly feels the unexplained is attracted to her because of her varying energy frequencies. Neurodivergent beacon, she calls herself. She's clairaudient, clairsentient, psychokinetic, and has telepathic abilities. Yes, telepathic abilities. How I got to try this. I'm sending her messages right now. No. I don't know if she's getting them or not, but it is. Hey, Kelly, how are you doing? Welcome to Spaced Out Radio, Dr. Kelly. How are you?
I am fine, Dave. How are you? And hello to everybody out there. Yes, Dave, I did receive your thoughts.
Oh, I'm so excited. I have to say this. There are very few phenomena out there that absolutely, totally, 100% captivate me. Number one, I'm outside of the norm, okay, because I love chasing Sasquatch. I love the paranormal. I love the aliens and UFOs. But time travel and telepathy are 2 of them that I absolutely just want to sink my teeth into and be a part of that world. I think there's something really cool about it. I don't know if time travel is real. I want to believe there. Telepathy, I believe we just haven't really dipped deep into our mind yet to make it happen. But I want it to happen. I need it to happen. So we're going to get into telepathy a little bit later on. For you, since age 3 or 4, you started having abilities. I mean, you're a grown woman now. I mean, that's a long time, to live a life of high strangeness, Dr. Kelly.
Yeah. So when it started for me at around, I would say, well, age 3, I think things started off, but age 4 is when I started noticing some really unusual things. And so, for an example, people always ask me, well, what did you experience? And what I was experiencing then was at the age of 4, I was having dreams. And in these dreams, I unfortunately, though, was having like traumatic events happening. And so I would see things like airplane crashes or civil unrest or things that were of the negative nature. But what was really weird about all of this is that at that age, I'd go into watch cartoons on the old black and white television box thing. I think most of those that are around my age would remember the old box black and white. But what was really odd is that I'd be standing there and I'd be watching a show or the news, and it would literally replay everything that I had seen in my dream. And I thought, now, when you're a 4-year-old kid, you're not thinking, oh, how interesting. You're thinking, how coincidental, or, well, oh, well, that's odd. And it was probably about, I'd say probably good 3, 4, 5 times of that happening that all of a sudden I started thinking to myself, I don't think this is a coincidence anymore. Even at the young age, I started to get the idea that something was a little bit off here. And so there did come a point, Dave, though, when I thought I was actually causing these events because I would dream them and then they would show up on TV. And I thought, no, I must have had something to do with it. So that's where it began.
Was this a family trait?
Okay, that's a good question. All right. So when you're young, you're not thinking along that lines, but when you get older and you've had enough under your belt to start to put the dots in place, I would have to probably say that this might have been a maternal trait. So I just recently found out from a cousin that there was some abilities in the maternal line of the family that went back probably generations, and who knows what gene I probably received along the way. But it sounds to me like there was some of that. But for those of you out there who have families perhaps like mine, we never had discussions about anything like this, or abilities or sensitivities. In fact, it was kind of like, you'd be kind of like, and so when you're finally learning about yourself as life goes along, then all of a sudden you start putting your pieces together. So yes, I would say maternal, yes, but I would also say probably paternal as well.
Right. I know for myself, nobody in my family has ever admitted it, even though we all think it comes from my mother.
Yeah.
Like my sister used to say, that my mom would have weird things happen where, my sister would be doing something that she shouldn't, and my mom would automatically know about it. But my mom, coming from a very, deep Mennonite Christian background, where that having those type of thoughts is evil and dark and dangerous, she's never admitted to it, so I just kind of find it kind of funny now, knowing what I know and doing what I do here with this show. For you, though, where did it really pick up? Did it start with ghosts? Did it start with aliens? How did it start for you when it started to pick up?
Well, I would say that it started to pick up unusually when I was around age 9 to age 17. And the reason why I say that is because I had to go to my grandparents' house after school to wait for my mom to get off from work to come and pick us up. But usually I was there alone most of the time. And there was a situation when my grandparents were out doing errands, and I was lying on the couch and just taking a nap when I had heard some very unusual, strange noises in the kitchen. And I thought, well, how on earth did they get home without me hearing, the door closed? And how you are, you're groggy. You go to, wander to the kitchen. And as soon as I got into, not even into it, but just looked into the frame of the door, there was nothing in there. The chatter that I had heard that sounded like a party coming from the kitchen wasn't there. Years later, I discovered, doing my research, and again, it was taboo to mosey around in the research of the family, but I did anyway. I learned that there was an older woman who used to live in the house, prior to, who had a kitchen fire, and she perished in that fire. And it was at that point, though, also, that I have to tell you that when I was getting older and in that house by myself, that I was literally physically attacked upstairs in one of the bedrooms. And I can tell you, if anyone can leap downstairs like 10 at a time, that would have been me, and running out of the house, because what happened up in that room was something that I wasn't expecting. I didn't think that anything demonic or evil or negative could even go into my grandparents' house, because they were very Catholic. They were a house of love. There was nothing but love in that house. So I figured there's nothing but love in this house. But I was wrong, because whatever was upstairs, I suspect, not sure, it was probably the woman that perished, and she was probably angry about other people coming into the house or whatever. I'm putting my finger on that woman right now. But whatever it was negative, and potentially also maybe a little bit on the demonic side. But what happened to me was my first real attack experience when I was in that house. So
I mean, that had to be very traumatizing for you, happening at such a young age. How did you battle through that?
I didn't. I Every time I went over to that house after school, I sat out in their porch, even if it was like our weather right now, very cold, very snowy, very wintry, because every time I was in that house, they were gone, doing errands, of course. And unfortunately, I wasn't going to put up with that for very long. So my resolve was to just stay out of the house, and a lot of times freeze out in the porch area, because I couldn't bear going back in there. Going back in there, I could sense and I could feel. And this is the first point that I want to make about the discovery of my abilities. After looking back at them, that was the point I became clairsentient and clairaudient, because it was like those senses woke up every time I was in that house. And so, again, the house of love, not always the house of love, not if something is in there, not necessarily wanting you in there as well. So that's how I dealt with it. I just sat out on the porch and froze to death all winter
Oh
long. So
my. Oh
yeah.
my, that
Yeah.
had to be tough on you.
Mm,
Very tough on you.
yeah.
In regards to your abilities,
Mm.
for some reason, whenever somebody opens up, they always start usually on the paranormal side, and then it branches out to other areas as well. At what point did things start to branch out for you?
Okay. Well, the branching didn't occur until I would say I was in my could have been my 20s. However, the true branching came out probably more in my 50s. But if you wouldn't mind, Dave, I want to back up for 1 second, if
Please
it's
go
okay
right
with
ahead.
you. Um, so one of the things that I'm a believer in now is the statement, "Be careful what you wish for," because I live by that theme, and I want to explain to you why. When I was around age 14, I was on, when you had asked me the question, Dave, about do I think it came from my maternal side or my paternal
Right.
side, or where did it come from? Um, it was one thing to have experiences on my maternal side in that grandparents' house, but when I was on my paternal dad's property in a rural area. This is going to sound a little nutty, but maybe some of the listeners and watchers can relate to this. I used to walk around the country property, and it was a beautiful house, Dutch colonial, built back in the early 1900s, absolutely spectacular in the county. But when I walked around that property, this is my paternal, my dad's side, I always kept thinking to myself, there's something here that's kind of creepy. And I don't know what it is. I just can sense that something is kind of creepy here. And then I started doing what I would never recommend anyone to do. I started manifesting through wishes. I wish I could see a ghost. I know there's a ghost on this property. I wish I could see a ghost. And I said that about 3 times. That was around the age of about 14 to 16. Okay, so I never saw a ghost until I was in my young 40s on that property. In fact, I saw 2 and I photographed 2 in a screen window. And so one of the things that started to happen at that point is that's the point, and we can talk about telepathy in a bit. That is where I became telepathic. I became telepathic in my young 40s because of what I photographed on that property. But I'm going to back up and let you take the reins here for the second, because there's so much stuff I could talk about. I want you to help me stay focused tonight. So,
Oh, no problem. In regards to, when you started to branch out, did you expect that to happen?
no.
Did you expect, that it was just going to be ghosts and ghosts only, or communication with ghosts? And, because the one thing that I've heard from a lot of people over the years is the phenomena, once you take mention of it and you start accepting it, the phenomena really does take you in directions that you as a human may not be prepared for.
Right.
And that could be scary at times.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to back up and go forward here on this. I needed to give a little foundation so that way it makes some sense. All right. So at the point where I became really interested in wanting to do a lot of ghost research or investigating, I would say that was my young 30s. Okay. Because I was distracted in my 20s. I was going to college and there are other things that were on my mind. I did go to a psychic in my young 20s because I was having some difficulties. And she had told me one thing. And I couldn't figure her out at the time, but I think now things are starting to make sense, and this may help to answer your question along the way. She told me, she said, there is something about you that's very unusual. And of course, I didn't want to be offended by that because I thought I'm here to get help from her. I'm not here to be criticized by her. But she was trying to make a point about something, and I understand her now. She said, your mind, your brain, there's something there that's very powerful. It is very powerful, but it's unusually powerful. And she said, you need to be careful how you use your brain, how you use your mind, because in the event that you get upset or, in my case, extremely tired, it activates. And when you activate, things start to happen. Now, I didn't understand that very well at first until I photographed that image in the screen window, Dave. And then what happened at that point is I thought I heard a telepathic message come to me from that photograph. When I was analyzing photographs, I noticed there's a little girl and an older man staring at me on this property. And this was my dad's property, the one I wanted to see a ghost on. And
Right.
so, what I'm getting at is that as soon as I heard this message, the message that came to me was check the genealogy. There's an error in it, and it has something to do with the little girl that showed up in the window. And so I thought, oh, okay, this is really weird. I'm hearing check the genealogy. What a wonderful message to hear. Well, they were right, whatever it was, whether it be trickster, whether it be actual relatives, which I think it was my relatives speaking to me from that house. They were right. The genealogy was wrong. Now, it was at that point, Dave, where I said to myself, oh my God, I can talk to ghosts. Oh my God. Oh my God. So what did I do? I do, like most amateurish novice individuals ghost hunting do, without not knowing much back then. I set out to seek out as many haunted bed and breakfasts as I possibly could. And that's where my husband and I would stay to explore and investigate to see if other ghosts want to talk to me. And so here I thought I had this great ability and all that. And it was this point, Dave, where now I'm going to try to connect the dot back to what you're talking about. I didn't realize that with every single exploration I did in trying to seek out activity, which at the time I believed was paranormal, and had some, by the way, many experiences, that my third eye would start to expand. And it would expand to the point where I would call myself now a neurodivergent beacon. And I shine like a lighthouse. And it seems like whatever it is out there will come to me. So when you're talking about extraterrestrial here, which we can certainly talk about, basically in a nutshell, I think that whoever it is or whatever it is that's around me or surrounding me, because I have a whole lot of experiences here, wants to deliver itself to me very, very carefully. And I have several situations we can discuss whenever you're ready for those. Because I have plenty of paranormal, I have plenty of extraterrestrial, and I also am wondering now if there's a connection or a relationship between them. And sometimes I wonder if I've gotten them mixed up. And so I'm going to throw the reins back to you, Dave, here, and let you go ahead and hit the next tennis ball at me.
Well, we have 2.5 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Kelly Schutz is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Kelly, for you, there's not enough time to get into your experiences. We'll do that in the next half hour. But at this point of what you have gone through on your journey, is there anything that surprises you anymore? Do you still get caught off guard?
Yes, a 30-seconder here. I was just at a conference in Vernal, Utah, and my husband and I were in a hotel room. And we were both in separate, like, queen size beds, just relaxing. And all of a sudden, what caught me off guard was that my 25 pound backpack went catapulting off of the bench. It didn't fall, it catapulted onto the floor. And we both looked at it and looked at each other. And I said, it never stops, does it? It just keeps going on and on and on.
Oh, my goodness. What's that like when you see all of a sudden your backpack go flying across a room?
Well, if it was my younger days, I might have been a little bit more scared. But now what I do is this. Good one. And remind me to tell you the story about when I visited the jail, because that one I think your listeners will be very, very interested in hearing.
Oh, jails. Those things freak me out. They freak me out. Too much negative energy around them.
Mm-hmm.
Way too much. Do you like a good ghost hunt?
Yeah. Are you ready for the story, or are we going to break?
Well, we still got 40 seconds to kill. We can't have 40 seconds of dead air. So all
right, here we go. Here we go, Dave. Here we go. Went to a tourist trap. There was a jail on this tourist trap. I was there by myself. I looked into this dark jail cell and said, this was at a tourist trap. I said, if there's anyone in here, please stand by the back wall. I'd like to take your picture. Captured it. But better than that. After we left that jail, went back to our cabin, which we were staying up in Wyoming. And the first thing I did when I got back to the room was I said to my husband, I need to make a phone call. And the phone call was to the front desk. And I said, I need the quickest local bar that you have, because I am awfully thirsty.
Hold that story right there. When we return, Dr. Kelly Schutz talks about her paranormal experiences and a little bit more. Aliens, telepathy. Oh, yeah, we're getting into it all tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. All right, we are clear. Good first half hour. We got about 5 minutes here before we come back. I just want to let, I'm seeing a lot of new people in our chat room tonight. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity. Don't forget to hit subscribe and to give us a thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't mind. We are a live radio show, and so we do things a little bit differently than what you would see on your normal YouTube channel / podcast. So we have to time everything out with our radio breaks. And so that's, you guys get a little bit of a look behind the scenes. So that's what we are doing right now, as we are on our first break of the night. So,
Dave, do you want me to finish my story, or do you want me to wait?
Wait until we come back.
Okay.
Wait until we come back, because that way the radio audience isn't left wondering what happened.
Yeah.
You got that right.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give just a quick shout out. Is it okay if I give a shout out?
Please.
All right.
Please go right ahead.
So I do know, I can't really see who's in the chat room right now, but I do know that there's a few of you that spoke with me earlier today that you were going to be watching. And I just want to say thank you so much. And I know you're there. So, you know, like telepathy, Dave, I can feel them. I can feel them in the chat room.
Excellent. Where is, I'm trying to find something here. Just bear with me. Where's the feed? Where is our feed? That's the insight. And let's go this way. Sorry, I'm just trying to find something here right now.
No, that's okay. I'm looking at Dirty Phil's picture. I'm trying to figure out what he's up to.
Oh, I don't know. Let's take a closer look here while we're at it.
Yeah.
Hi, Music Maker. How are you? Trying to find the Facebook feed here. Let's see here. What is Dirty up to?
It's a mystery, Dave.
You are a mystery. You are a mystery, Dirty Filth.
Gotta keep them guessing right to the end.
Right to the end.
Dirty Filth, is it okay if I get a copy of that?
Of course.
That would be great. I'd like to showcase it.
I'll even send you a Christmas card to go with it.
Oh, my goodness. Christmas to me.
He's that good.
Yeah.
He's that good. Patty Franks, why are you off YouTube? We're not off YouTube. You can go to our YouTube channel and see us there. John Montoya, Sparkles, Annalisa, all watching on Facebook tonight.
Midnight Squatchers. Yes, I see that. Hi, John.
Heather McIntyre's a fan.
Hi, Heather.
I love her. Raz, James Weston, and who else has joined us here?
Is Anne still there? Anne Celine? Or is she off?
I think she disappeared. It's her birthday today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. How's my daughter? She's getting big. She's getting closer. She's getting closer. I'm looking forward to it. Like 2 weeks away from meeting my grandson. Can't wait. So pumped up. All right, we got
Shout
about
out to Heather. Thank you, Heather.
We got about 40 seconds. A big thank you to Typical Skeptic, Stephen Finnegan, Little Timmy Senor, Samantha, and Thomas for the super chats tonight. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Don't forget, you can go and do your shopping at spacedoutradio.com, including getting yourself one of these Grantavius Maximus shirts. There's Grant right there, hanging on out. Go over to our website, pick it on up today. And don't forget, mark on your calendar, May 19th through 21st, 2023 in Las Vegas at the Golden Nugget for the second annual fan party. We want you all there, so check it on out. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We very much appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. All right, we continue on tonight with Dr. Kelly Schutz. We're talking paranormal, supernatural, strange things all night long with Dr. Kelly, and we thank her for being here tonight. Kelly, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back, Dave.
Right before the break, you were talking about this spooky story in a jail, of all places. I'll let you continue on there.
All right, so I'm going to recap this briefly. So my husband and I went. We had just left this conference, okay, and in Utah, and we were on our way back, going towards Salt Lake City, and we were up in Wyoming, and we stopped at this tourist trap. And it was very interesting. But on this tourist trap land, there was a single cell jail. And it was just him and me wandering around, meandering. And so we went, he went one way and I said, I'm going to go check out this jail. So I went into this thing and it was, a single cell, very dark jail. So I thought, well, what the heck, right? So I flipped on my equipment. I had my camera and stuff with me at the time. And I said, if there's anybody in this jail, I would like to take your picture. And so would you please stand by the back wall? And as I was shooting, I noticed that there was some activity in there, but not just one, but there was actually two. All right. So left that property, went back to our cabin. And then what happened was the unthinkable. I am not a drinker. And so as soon as we got into the cabin, I said to my husband this, I need to make a phone call. I need to make it now. And I need to make it to the front desk because we were in a very small town. And so anyway, I called the front desk and I said, can you tell me where the nearest liquor store is or bar, anything with hard alcohol? Just tell me where it is. I need some. I get off the phone. My husband looks at me. He says, what has happened to you? I said, I don't know. He goes, you don't drink. I said, I know, I don't drink. But then I thought back to that jail and I thought, I am one for attachments and I have had many attachments taken off of me. And I will tell you, I don't know who hitched a ride, but whatever was sure thirsty. So I wouldn't say I was possessed or under possession, but I would say something very strange had happened to me. So that's the story. I just thought everyone would be interested in that.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, attachments are something that are pretty common when it comes to the paranormal, that most people may not even realize that they have them. How does one tell if they have an attachment?
Ha! I wish I knew, and I'll tell you why. Because there were things that were happening with me at one point, and I would never have been able to blame it on anything, directly, except something that was happening in my, immediate life. And so I had heard on a show once there was a couple that had removed attachments from people. And I thought, well, you know what? There's so many weird things happening to me. Maybe they might know or answer this question for me. So I contacted them, and they're in San Diego. And I had them on my show at one time too. And I had said to them, I don't know how you can tell this, but can you tell if I have any attachments on me? Because a lot of weird things are happening to me all the time. And the sister, it was a sister brother pairing, had said that she said, yes, actually, you have 16 attachments on you. And I thought, well, how the heck does somebody know that? This is very strange. Okay. And then, so anyway, long story short, I said, well, how do you get them off of me? I said, you're in San Diego. I'm in Minnesota. What do we do about that? She goes, no worries. She says, I'm not going to tell you when they're going to come off of you, but you will know. So I thought, oh, geez. So the next, about a day or two after that, I was to interview the brother. Okay. And it was the night before that interview. Now, Dave, I can't do a sit-up if I tried. All right. So, in bed, I lifted up probably sometime mid-morning. My mouth went wide open, and I started to vomit air, 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 and air. And I'm not kidding you. It was the weirdest experience of my life. Anyway, the next day when I interviewed the brother, I said, by the way, did this thing like happen last night, mid-hour? And he goes, yes. And I said, all right, thank you. It was the strangest thing. Now, some people report when they have attachments taken off of them or out of them, that other things come out too. All right. But not in my case. I had a lot of air, but it was just absolutely creepy. So I was like halfway up, kind of like in a levitated stance. And then when it was over with, I do remember falling backwards and hitting my head on the pillow. And then I went right back to sleep. And so I don't know, but I did tell them one thing. I said, out of all the attachments that you have, would you leave the one that gambles? Because I seem to do pretty well with that one. So anyway, there's a story with that. But anyway, I don't know. I don't think they took that one, but indirectly they might have, but off and on that. So
Yeah, the gambler one would be fun to have. I could use that one. Yeah,
well,
because
yeah, go ahead.
Right now I have zero game. My poker game has been in the toilet for about 8 years, and I can't handle it right now.
Well, do I dare tell everybody that I've won 18 IRS ticketed jackpots in the last 4 years out of 22 visits. That means 4 visits loss. That means 18 visits walking out owing the IRS something. People ask me, what was the most you've ever won? I know that that's on somebody's mind right now. The most that I have ever won was $13,000. They're usually above anywhere from 1,500 to 3,500. I can also, what really creeped them out though, when I was in Vegas, was that I was in one of the casinos and I was playing one of these kind of like a horse racing game, the little plastic horses that go around this track kind of thing. And they had just introduced this game to the casino. So I just thought I would just sit down. I was really, really super tired and I really just didn't want to be there. But I threw a bunch of money on a number and lo and behold, I won. Yes, I won a jackpot. And the manager came over to me and he said, how did you do this? Because this game, this machine has never won. You're the first one to win off of this machine since we put it in here. He says, how did you do this? And of course, what am I supposed to say? Oh, this is my secret. I don't have a secret. I just know when I get very, very tired, I activate. And when I activate, everything that I think or do or I see is usually spot on. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. But when it does happen and, you need the money, it's kind of nice to have. So
Very nice. Very nice. We got about 14 minutes here before we go to break, and Dr. Kelly Schutz is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Kelly, you've dealt with a lot of paranormal stories and helping people understand what is going on. Is there a story that really sticks out to you where you've tried to help someone and it worked, or maybe it's been difficult?
yeah, okay. I don't think she'll mind because I'm not mentioning her name. So a few years back, just a couple years back, I went to this haunted museum in Las Vegas. And I'm prefacing this because it'll help people understand what I'm talking about. Because I wore a cross, I'm going to lead into that, Dave. I wore a cross going in there. I figured nothing was going to hurt me because I was a believer in God. And I was wrong. I was attacked in the museum and I shut it down for about 8 minutes. It was a very scary experience. When I left that museum, of course, I won $3,000 after that. But anyway, putting that aside, let's see, that was a good moment. Maybe I should go back in the museum. But anyway, I had a message. It wasn't a phone call. It was a message from somebody who had been following me, and they had gone into that museum. And something had followed them home. And it was causing a rift in her house. And she lived in Boston. And so she was asking me, how do I get rid of this thing? Because she knew that I was in the museum. She knew I had experiences, so she connected that way. And I did my best to tell her, here, these are some of the things you might want to try or do or whatever. And she eventually just basically threw everything outside her house, lit it on fire, threw it outside her house. I'm not really sure that was the right approach. I haven't heard from her since. I hope she's still alive. But, the bottom line is this. I do have people reach out to me. And I do have people ask me, well, what would you do or what can you do? And I have to preface this with this. Not every situation is the same. Not every result or any solution to getting rid of something is the same. And I have to emphasize that because it really depends on many different factors. And so that's what you have to keep in mind if you're trying to get rid of something out of your house, because I have haunted 3 of my houses, 3 of them with poltergeist activity that would knock your socks off. And even for myself, I try different things and not always am I successful. So I am trying to work with me to see if I can calm me down, to see if that might help some of my situations. But not all answers are for everybody, Dave.
No, and that is very, very true. I mean, it's a very individual journey as much as you may try and get a number of people to help you out or try and figure out what is going on with you. And through all of this, you mentioned that you had some poltergeist activity happen. For many of us, we've never experienced that. Take us through what that's like.
Well, okay. I have a cheat sheet, so I'm going to just give you a few examples. All right, I needed to get this cheat sheet here. Poltergeist activity. Let me start with one of the ones that was most frightening, which has seemed to open up my third eye a little bit more. Europe, a few years ago. Haunted room. Wanted the most haunted room in this bed and breakfast, 900-year-old property, got the second most haunted room. They would not put me in the first one. because they said people don't stay more than 20 minutes in it. And so I said, I am here from the United States. I'm writing a chapter in my book. I want a story before I leave this place, because it had supposedly 12 apparitions of all ages running around. Okay. Go to the second most haunted room. First thing that I learned in going to this room is I walked through. Anyone here ever experience an electrical cobweb? Because if you've ever walked through one, it's like walking through static and you light up like a Christmas tree. Okay, so that was my first introduction to walking to our room, which was in a maze. Second thing was we had to knock on the door of the room because you would not let you in otherwise. And they were not kidding. So you had to ask permission. So you go into this room, decides to let you in. You get in there. It's a dreadful, sick feeling. So a lot of times, not in all situations, but in this situation, which was my worst, it was a dreadful, sick feeling. So what did my husband and I do? I said, I know what I will do. I will appease it. I'm going to offer it chocolates and champagne. And so I just know that it will be friendly to us for the night if I do that. Not really. Okay, so I did notice when we went for supper, and when we were down at supper, the manager came to me and said, could I please have your key to your room? The ghost will not let my management maintenance guy, into the room, because even after he begs. I said, well, why not? Because it just won't. We need your key. All right. So this guy goes into the room. Now, keep in mind, my husband's going, oh, malarkey. Oh, whatever. Because he felt he wasn't quite into the ghost things yet until we had that experience in that room. So we go back from supper. We're appeasing everybody. Knock, knock on the room. May we come in? We go in. First thing I notice, handprints on my pillow. Now, most of you are thinking this right now. You're thinking, oh, the maintenance guy did that when he was in there. No, he didn't. I just know that. Second thing that we noticed, there was a floor-length mirror that was like this, and it was bent like this. Okay. Oh, malarkey. Maintenance guy did it. No, he did not do it. Anyway, long story short, as we're getting towards bedtime, he throws the holy water into the bed as a sign of protection. I'm facing the mirror, the floor-length mirror. And the minute he threw the holy water, he froze in midair. And the mirror did this. Na, 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 right at me. And it started cycling around as God as my witness, and ended up like this. Now, I went into a major panic attack because I could hardly believe what I saw. I don't know what it was. I don't know who it was. I don't know where it was. But I do know that I could not sleep. All the batteries were dead in the room, of course. And in the morning, the door was open. We packed up. We were going downstairs. The manager brought me back upstairs. I said, I don't want to go back up in that room. I said, I had enough of that mirror. She goes, I have to ask you about this mirror. So like when you're asking Dave about helping people, she wanted my help. She wanted my help. Big girl from the United States. Okay, we go back up there. I'm sitting there to myself going, I do not like this mirror. I hate this mirror. She goes, I have to tell you what this mirror does. Every time my staff bends over to vacuum the floor, it lifts the bottom part of it up, lifts it up and hits her in the bum every single time. And I presume it's a jokester, guy, or a flirty guy. But to me, it was proving a point. It was basically saying, you wanted a ghost story? You got it. And so that was the most frightful, but I have had many things happen, Dave. I've had books fly off shelves. I've had wardrobe doors fly open. I have things catapult off things to me. I mean, poltergeist activity, or is it me doing this? I mean, that's the question I'm investigating on myself now. Is this poltergeist, or is it psychokinesis? Which is it? Apparently, I seem to have this since I was younger, but do I really have it, or is it just the fact that I'm connecting with something and it's just connecting back with me? I don't know. So does that help you, Dave?
Well, I think it's very interesting because everybody who has the whole poltergeist thing going down, they do say, oh, we're not sure. Is it me who is causing this, or is it some sort of spirit activity that is causing it? And I still lean towards the old spirit activity.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually coming from within us. That just sounds a little bit too aggrandizing for me, in giving us a little bit too much power, even though we don't know the power that we actually have. Did you ever see any of these poltergeist beings while this was going on?
When I walked through the electrical cobweb, when we first got there, and I walked through this thing and I lit up like a Christmas tree. Now, keep in mind, my husband had no effect. I walked through an apparition, and the apparition was apparently standing there, and like that static you hear from the electrical wires. Anyway, when that happened, I went kind of dizzy, and then I looked to my right, or my left, sorry, I looked to my left, and I actually saw the maid, and I have a picture of her in my book, but I actually saw the maid rushing around the corner. I saw half of her face. Yes. But I can also tell you, even though this doesn't relate to this situation, my husband did see his first apparition about 10 months ago. And it was a fisherman on a boat at a museum in Iowa. And he was trying to tell me that the boat was haunted, and I didn't, buy into it at first until he described. He's very adamant now. Nope, he saw an apparition. But now the question is this: because my husband has been around me for all of these ghostly experiences, am I having an effect on him because I'm evolving in my abilities and my strength of my abilities? Am I having an effect on my husband now because he never used to have this, but now he's starting to have it too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It wears off, it wears off. I mean, you guys, it's like wearing couples jackets. You guys look the same. You're going to breed the same energy,
Right.
Has he got aliens yet too?
He has heard, like myself, some unusual activity that has been happening in our house. It does not happen all the time. It has happened twice. Nope, I take that back. As far as extraterrestrial goes, things that have been happening to me more so than him, but a couple times, yes, in the house on other things. And so I got a whole shopping list here for you. Just let me know what you want to know here.
Well, we got about 90 seconds here. So is this activity happening frequently, or is it rare?
It happens when it wants to happen. That's the thing that's so frustrating about all this. So one day you'll just be really quiet, and then the next day, all of a sudden, out of the blue, something happens. So then I check the moon phase, I check the clarity in the sky, I check this, I check that, I check retrograde situation, I check it all. And I'm like, I can't answer this. So I do know that we have a portal in our house that has been identified by 3 different psychics. And so we do have an entrance in our house of something that likes to come in and hang about. I did see an elemental, though. I should tell you this: go across the hallway into my husband's office probably about 4 months ago. It was about 2 feet high. It was pitch black. And it just was a wisp. Woo! And it went from our bathroom into his office. But I figured because it was his office, oh well. Poor husband.
Yeah, no kidding. That's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, husband.
Well, yes, we're sorry too. We're sorry too. Dr. Kelly, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because We are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have 1 hour to go with Dr. Kelly Schutz. When we return for hour number 2, we're going to learn about the aliens who have come into her life, because old Davey here loves him some aliens. Yes, I do. And we're going to get into telepathy. Well, maybe telepathy first, because I kind of crush on that subject. Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, and our guest, Dr. Kelly Schutz, continues on the radio when we return right after this. Stay tuned. All right, we are clear. And let's see what Dirty Filth is up to. I'm going to step away for a couple minutes, Kelly, and Dirty Filth can go over his painting for you here.
All right. So what do you have for us today there? I can that's good. That's turning out pretty good there.
Okay, so there's cat fluff on my screen. Nonetheless, it's unescapable. So anyways, I always wondered if UFOs could tractor beam a ghost up into the craft, but I always figure since the ghost isn't really a physical, well, maybe it might be physical. I'm not sure. I've never punched a ghost or had a ghost touch me or anything, so I couldn't tell you, but I'm just guessing the ghost would have to float up into the UFO. So we have the little gray alien telling the ghost, hey pal, the tractor beam does not work. You'll have to float up. And so the ghost is going to have to float into the UFO to go on a trip through the universe, space-time, wherever, however UFOs drive.
I like it. No, I like it. So tell me, so you have never been touched by a ghost or anything before? Never?
No, my ghost experiences is strictly I've seen the same ghost twice, and that was it. And
Oh, so you have seen a ghost.
yes.
All right. So I don't know if you know much. I'm sure you know about me because obviously I wouldn't be on this show. So I'm sorry to everybody who's listening right now, but I interview more than I be interviewed, right? So I may interview you here, Dirty Filth, if that's okay.
Okay, I'm on the hot
ask you
seat.
a little bit? Good, you are, because I'm more gentle than Dave, though. Dave is being very gentle with me tonight. I've got pages here of I could spend hours telling people about all the things that have gone on in my life. Never ending, and it's always different. So you're in the hot seat. So here's me to you. All right. So when was the first time that you've seen this apparition or this ghost?
The first time, probably 1997.
Okay. Where were you?
I was at my friend Fraser's house, and
Okay.
I had slept over. It happened 2 times within the same year. And the first time I'd slept over at his house, and I was sharing the same bedroom as him. And he had, him and his brother shared the same room, and his brother wasn't there, so I slept in the other bed. And in the middle of the night, I woke up and I had to go to the washroom. And I remember looking over, and when it's dark and you're in the same room and you can kind of see someone get up and move around.
Yeah.
So I thought I seen Fraser get up, and I thought I seen him. He walked to the door and he turned to go to the washroom, and I waited and waited for him. And he just never came back and ended up falling asleep. And in the morning, I asked him, well, would you plug the toilet? How long were you in there for? And he says, oh, I never went to the washroom. It was probably the ghost. And I went, what do you mean the ghost? And he goes, there's a ghost in the basement. And the second time was, sorry.
So that ghost that was in the basement, was that at the same place the second time? Did you see the same ghost, or was this a different ghost?
I'm fairly certain the second time I seen it was the same ghost, but it was instead of in the bedroom, it was in their living room. It was a basement suite in his dad's house. And I was sleeping on the opposite couch, and Fraser was sleeping on the other one. And it was the same thing. I thought I watched Fraser stand up and walk to the washroom, and I just remember watching him walk, and it just looked like a like it was dark. It just looked like that gray shadow mist almost, or whatever. It's the best way I can explain it. And I went, that's probably the ghost. And I asked him in the morning, I said, is there seriously a ghost here in the basement? He said, yep. And I never really asked any further.
Yeah, so you didn't ask, he didn't expand on whether or not this was a like an annoyance ghost or a friendly ghost, or he just they just went on with their lives and he just, well, that's just the ghost. He didn't seem that affected by it.
That was it. There never seemed anything creepy or hostile or anything. They just said there's a ghost that lives in the basement, and that was that. And I went, okay, there's a ghost in the basement, right on. And
I think I think if the ghost would have come up to you and approached you, do you think you might have had maybe a different reaction?
I would probably have to change the bed sheets.
Oh, dirty Phil, changing the bed sheets.
Oh, sorry, Dave.
Sorry, Dave. I'm getting interviewed here.
I know.
That's okay.
Dave, you left and I said, my turn. I'm going to do what I do all the time. I'm going to interview your artist here,
Oh, that's fine. You should have him as a guest on your show.
No, I will. I'll have both of you on my show. How's that?
Sure. I'm just going to take some time here to say thank you to Thomas, Samantha, Tim, Steven, and Typical Skeptic for the super chats tonight. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Also, want to remind all of you that if you haven't already, please hit subscribe and ring that bell. We are 498 people away from 20,000 subscribers. We'd love to hit 20,000 before the year's end. So we appreciate that. And of course, Las Vegas, May 29th or May 19th to 21st, 2023, our second annual Las Vegas fan party. Dirty Filth is going to be handing out art all over the place. We're going to have a bunch of special guests showing on up. Our entire team's going to be there, and we need you there to make it successful. So book that on your calendar today. Here we go with hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Radular. Radular is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Remember, America, time is winding down. You got Thanksgiving coming up Thursday, Black Friday on Friday, and old Davey here wants to see some high-quality videos on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Let's get back to brawling, people. Let's get back to doing what we do best when we go shopping on Black Friday. None of this online stuff. Let's do it right this year. Can we? Can you grant Davey a wish here? I hope so. All in fun, people. All in fun. Dr. Kelly Schutz is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are learning all about her amazing experiences growing up with a lifetime of paranormal. And then, Kelly, the aliens came. And we are going to have some fun with that. Kelly, welcome back.
Thank you so much to be back here.
All right. Well, let's get into it. When did the extraterrestrials start showing up?
All righty. So I have my cheat sheet here. So forgive me if I look down a few times. One of the things that I've been trying to connect the dots for the last umpteen years. And sometimes when you're busy, you don't have time to think about what's going on in your life, especially with paranormal or anything else other than. And I think, I'm not positive, but I think, and I'm going to throw out the first ball here, that it is possible that I had my first occurrence maybe even before the age of 20. And I'm beginning to wonder if I am not somehow marked in some way. All right. So it was in my 20s. I can't really tell you how this all really came about, but I woke up. I was a college student. I lived in a house with several other girls, but I lived on the first floor. And I got up one night, and apparently, and I must have gone and I put on. It wasn't a prom dress, but those of you who know what a typical longer dress looks like, I woke up in the morning with a long dress on, backwards, inside out, and a zipper that was impossible to manipulate by myself. And so I thought to myself, what did I eat last night? That's what you think when you're in your 20s and you're not thinking about this stuff, and it's not big on the news, or it's not big on these programs. Because keep in mind, back then, we didn't really talk about this stuff. I mean, even to talk about psychics or paranormal or anything like that back in my day, no, 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 no talkie. Okay. So for me to sit there and tell somebody, I had some really weird experience last night. My dress was inside out. You pass it off. I passed it off then as potentially sleepwalking. Okay. So let's put that on the shelf just for the moment. But lately, when I've been looking back at that moment, I had to ask myself, was that sleepwalking? How on earth did that zipper get in such a position in a way that I couldn't do it myself? All right. So I just want to have you hold that thought for a moment. Let's talk about Las Vegas a little bit. Las Vegas is a place that always screams for me to come to it. I write many of my books in Las Vegas. And there was one year when I was there just a few years ago, and I was up in a very luxury hotel, 60th floor. And I was there by myself because I do my best work with, silence, basically. And I looked out the window that night. It was a clear sky. And of course, there's light pollution from, on the strip. And I said what I said before, which I said, I wonder if I'm going to see a UFO. I wonder if there's any aliens out here. And keep in mind that, little naive, okay? Anyway, long story short, I would say within 15 minutes after I shut the lights off, and I had a room where the gadgetry in the room allowed me to close the curtains or play with the buttons on how to, manipulate the lights and all that sort of thing. My lights started to flicker. And I thought, well, this is weird because they never flicker. There's no malfunctioning that I've ever experienced in this room before. And then all of a sudden there's a couple taps behind my head. And I thought, well, this is odd. What's behind my head is the bathroom. Okay. Long story short, I woke up in the morning feeling very unusual. And I could not tell you how that felt. It felt like a very cleansed feeling, a very different kind of feeling. And I thought it was odd how I fell asleep so quickly too, because I usually lay there for hours. Anyway, a couple months later, went to the doctor and discovered I had cancer. And it was about this time when I had a psychic come over to my house who was very into the ufology. She's had experiences with UFOs and the whole 10 yards. And I had her over here because I wanted her to go through the house to see if she could pick up anything unusual in this house, because we were having these poltergeist experiences and all this. And she looked at me and she said, I got to ask you something kind of crazy here. She says, you've had an experience. And I said, with what? And she goes, well, it was about a couple years ago. you were in a hotel room and you had a visit. And I said, a visit? I said, oh, you mean that paranormal stuff that went on in that hotel room? She goes, no. That wasn't paranormal. She said, you had an extraterrestrial visitation, dear, and they were there checking your blood. Checking my blood? For what? She says, my God, you had cancer, right? They were there checking your blood. All right. So to go a little bit further with this, I had my surgery. I am okay. I am, knock on wood, I'm fine to this day. The doctor looked at me, though, a few times, because you know how you are when they always say, oh, you're a miracle, right? Well, he said that to me. He says, do you understand something? You're a miracle. And I looked back and I'm like rolling my eyes going, I just had major surgery, right? And I said, oh, yeah, right. He goes, no. And he put his face in my face, probably a couple inches away. He goes, I'm going to tell you this one more time. You are a miracle. And so I thought back to that moment and what she said. And they weren't, whatever it was in that room that night in Vegas, whether it was paranormal or whether it was extraterrestrial, and the claim that it was extraterrestrial wasn't there to hurt me. It was there actually to help me. All right. So now let's move this forward a little bit, shall we? So that's
Sure.
the Vegas experience. Let's talk about when I was kicked up in the air. All right. Now, some people think it's possible to levitate, and I'm a kind of a heavier woman now. So, good luck to you. All right. But I was at Groveland Hotel, and it is also known as a haunted hotel. And at the time, apparently I couldn't get into the room with the ghost because it was already taken, but I was in a room apparently with a ghost miner that did not like people that snored. Well, I snore like a freight train. Okay. And so anyway, apparently I must have been snoring or something. And I found myself around about 2 a.m. being catapulted up into the air, kicked. I actually felt something underneath my back being slung up into the air, and I woke up bouncing on the bed. Now, I know many of you are going to say, well, did your husband wake up? No, my husband never wakes up during my activities, apparently. It's like they knock him out. I have my experiences, and then when he comes to, I tell him all about them, and he's like, what have you been eating? But anyway, the one thing that just occurred to me recently was that, see, I went on the assumption that was an upset miner who liked to be under the bed, who liked to steal people's socks and remotes. That was the miner in the room, who liked to turn the water on and off, that kind of thing. Now, that stuff didn't happen. But when I get slung up in the air and then bouncing on the bed, I have to ask myself, what happened? Okay. So at the time, I passed it off as paranormal, which it could have been, which it might have been, who knows. But it was also a clear night. It was up on a mountain. There was a lot of metals within the mountain, that kind of thing. And it was a perfect night for anything else to occur up on that mountain. I was on a show just recently where the question was asked of me, how do you know that was paranormal? Maybe it was extraterrestrial and you actually were levitated up somewhere, memory erased, and then dropped back down onto the bed. That is very possible. But all I can remember is what it felt like a foot underneath my back being catapulted up. But you hear these reports all the time of people levitating up through the roof or whatever, or being, and that area, by the way, is known to have UFO activity. But keep in mind, at that time, to me, it was all paranormal. So I'm just going to leave you with that as a thought. Let's go back to my house for a moment. Okay, this happened within the last 2 years. Woke up one night, actually morning, clothes off. Here we go again, right? Clothes off. My clothes were down towards my feet on a chair, puddled. Usually you hear reports where clothes are nicely folded or folded back, or they're put on the person like I was before, backwards or something like that. But I had that cleansed feeling again, which I don't have. I've only had it twice. that time in Vegas and then the time at home here when I felt that. And I thought to myself, okay, this is getting really creepy. Now I'm waking up in my own bed at home, and now I have no clothes on with that same feeling that I had when I had in Las Vegas. And my clothes are down by my feet. Okay, so just to let you know, never happened before, never happened after. But then something else happened to me. Something that is right behind my head right here. You're looking at a picture where that is me looking in the mirror, and what is on my body is a blood red handprint, upside down, elongated fingers. One of them was crooked. Okay. You know what it's like when you get up when you're going to bed, and that night I smelled something just wretched. I thought it was my husband's shampoo, and it wasn't my husband's shampoo, which I discovered the next morning. And I had pulled the covers over my face because it stunk so bad. Anyway, I get up, I go into the bathroom. Sure enough, there it is, right here. For those that are viewing, right here on my chest. That's where the handprint was, and it stayed for 3 hours. Now, I have had 4 psychics give me their impressions of what and where that came from. Let me read them off to you. The first psychic I talked to said, nope, that was an alien encounter. That was definitely alien. Now keep in mind, it didn't hurt or anything, but it was like seared right into my body. Very much a marking. Okay. Second one, nah, it's an old lost woman. She was looking over, and she thought she recognized you, and she went to touch you here and then realized that she touched too hard and she made an imprint. It's possible. I don't know what that smell was, but it was pretty wretched. Then I had another one. Nah, it's a succubus. Someone wanted to do hanky pank with you while, everything wants to hang around me. It doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. They're there. Here we are. Let's go hang around Kelly. This one just wanted to get a little flirty. Okay. And then finally, the fourth psychic said, no, Kel, that's PK. It's your own hand. That's your marking. That's what's there. So the blood red handprint, yes, lasted for 3 hours. It then just suddenly disappeared. And I have never had a marking like that since, although I do feel in my gut, I feel like something within me has been marked because it seems like my experiences are getting stronger, but I'm not done yet. I had asked out loud to the universe, and I said, could you please tell me who put that marking on my body? All right. About a month later, I had a dream. And for those of you who believe in your dreams, I remember when I was 4, I was dreaming, and I had these dreams that had come true, right? Well, what happened in this dream? I had a mantis being show up in my dream. At first, when I'm looking at this dream, I'm seeing what looked like a young lady walk away from me. And I thought, oh, that looks like my husband's cousin's kid, And then what happened was that it turned around. And when it turned around, it had the face of a mantis being, but it was trying to disguise itself behind a black COVID mask. I woke up immediately. My heart was beating so fast. I thought I was going to have a heart attack, and I was just full of sweat. And I screamed out to the world, do not ever show yourself to me like that ever again. So when you ask Dave if I've ever actually seen an alien, I would say, other than the elemental that dashed across the hallway, whatever that was, my answer to you is I've seen it in my dreams. I have not seen it visually, and I don't ever want to see one, although chances are likely whatever is in here or comes to visit is invisible. I've had what sounds like spaceship doors open inside my master bedroom. You're thinking, well, doesn't UFOs have no sound to them? Not necessarily, because this one could not be explained. And I laid there and I looked with my eyes and I said, just show yourself already if you're going to show yourself. Okay, so that was another thing that happened. Let's talk about when we got home from a trip and I was walking with luggage going up my stairway. Then I looked to my right because something caught my eye. It was the size of a clock, smaller than what you'd put on the wall, but just big enough. It was cream colored. It was an orb shaped. And as soon as I focused on it, like what the, you know what, it dissolved and disappeared. And then, of course, this will all lead into whether or not it's possible for aliens to possess people. I've had 2 experiences with black-eyed teens / young adults, which I can certainly tell you the story if you're interested in that. But for the most part, most part, I'm just saying that wherever I am, here it comes. Whatever it is it paranormal? Is it extraterrestrial? Keep in mind, I'm a citizen researcher. I am my own study. So whatever I experience, I take note of it. I try to debunk it. I'm a former investigator. I used to do some undercover work. Can't do undercover work here, but I can certainly attempt to debunk things. Here's my story on the black-eyed kids. All right. So a few years ago at a very well-known fair, what I do, I'm retired now. I'm a retired college professor and I'm retired from law and retired from many different things. I have many, many, many careers under my belt. And I work for fun at places that I enjoy. Anyway, I was in a horse barn at a very well-known fair, and I was hired to do the night shift and to watch over these horses that were like millions and millions of dollars. So very big responsibility for me. The first occurrence happened indirectly, but directly enough for me to understand what happened. I had stepped away momentarily just as I had gotten there to my shift. And one of the things that we did or do at this thing is we hand out shower keys to the competitors because they need a place to shower before they do their competitions the next day. And the worker that was with me, she had an experience where there was actually an undercover person that had come up and said, I need to get into the shower, but there's somebody in my shower. Okay. All right. So of course they go and investigate, right? And so they're going to the door and they're knocking on the door. Hey, how did you get in there? Get out of there. People are in line to take their showers. So it was this kid. Now, keep in mind that there's a lot of haunted activity on this property. There have been some suicides on this property. So the kid comes out and they stand him against a pillar. And they're trying to indirectly interrogate him over shower keys, for God's sakes. How did you get in there? Blah, blah, blah. He's not speaking. He has brown hair. The bangs are over his eyes. His eyes are brown. And he's sitting there like he's all drugged up. Okay. He's not talking. All right. Just as they're about to kind of give up on this kid, there's a horse that's coming to go get walked before competition. The horse takes one look at this kid, absolutely does that. How they go back because they're afraid, and stops like, oh my God, what am I looking at? Because that was a very unusual reaction for a horse. The kid takes one look at my coworker. He smiles and he has very sharp nail-like teeth. This is not a joke. And so she takes one look at him. Her eyes go way, way big, She looks at the woman. She looks at the horse because the horse is still freaking out. And so long story short, when they looked back, the kid was gone. It's like he just disappeared into air. They went looking for the kid. There was no way he could have gone anywhere without being noticed. Let's just put it to you that way. She comes to me because I'm the paranormal girl, right? And she is absolutely tormented. And I'm trying to settle her down for a half hour. And as she described this kid to me, it was blatantly obvious to me that we had the teeth is what gave it away. The bangs, not always. The eyes, yes.
Dr. Kelly Schutz, we have her for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. When we return, more Black Eyed Kids and telepathy. Can we speak mind to mind? We'll find out right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. We are clear.
Am I doing it, Dave? Am I giving you what you want, Dave?
Oh, you're doing fantastic. Let's see what Dirty Filthy. Hey, pal, the tractor beam does not work. You'll have to float up. Oh, that's kind of cool, Dirty Filth. Very cool.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, I was saying I figured that they probably can't tractor beam ghosts up.
No.
But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if a ghost is physical or what. So have to find out in the future.
The old tractor beam, eh?
I'll have to get Merle to find a ghost for me to see if I can shake a ghost's hand in Vegas.
Oh, good old Merle. He'll be looking. Good old Merly Bird. You enjoying the cartoon, Dr. Kelly?
Yeah, you just mentioned something a second ago, and I was trying to figure out how to jump in on that. You had said something like you don't know if the ghost is physical or whatever. I just talked with a couple people on my show who have actually had experiences with solid apparitions. One actually, which is just unheard of, but someone who actually talked with one for a half hour. It's a long story, but I didn't think before talking with this guest that a ghost could really hold their energy for more than maybe 3 to 5 seconds, or something along that lines. And I've heard more reports lately of solid apparitions, and then another one at the same fair that was actually spotted this past year, sitting in the seat at a show. And when the guy who organized the show said to this person's daughter at some point, "Yeah, I saw your mom sitting out there." And she goes, "Well, that's impossible. She died 3 months ago." And she was sitting in the exact same seat that she always sat in, out there. It's kind of interesting about the length of time a apparition can actually hold their energy for.
Wow. Pretty insane.
Well, here's another one. Here's another one for you. Where I work, when I'm there working, and the EMT, I get lots of stories from EMTs. Saw this old woman floating through the crowd. We get a big crowd at this fair. I'm talking body to body. And kind of like almost like, I'm not sure, like when I was up near Calgary and lived in Calgary, the Stampede. But anyway,
yes.
Yeah, they said one day this older woman was kind of meandering through the crowd, and she just kind of looked a little bit out of place. And yeah, come to find out, she had no feet. It's just kind of weird, when you talk to people and then they start telling you all the types of experiences that they've had with ghostly apparitions. It's just kind of very interesting.
It's funny you mention that because when Tim Senor and I were down in Las Vegas earlier this summer, we were walking to our hotel room. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. By the time we got checked in, and we're going to one of the towers in Caesar's Palace, and this old guy, he couldn't have been younger than 90, honestly.
Yeah.
And he comes wandering by us in periodic clothing, full body, like full, just like you or I were there.
Yeah.
And we said hi to him, and he didn't even respond.
No.
He just kept going right behind us. And Tim and I actually stopped, and we're like, was that guy alive or dead? Was that guy
Right.
alive or dead?
Right.
We just
Right.
didn't know.
Right. Vegas, I don't know what it is. I couldn't even tell you what it is. It keeps calling me back there all the time. And
Well,
it's not,
you can join us for our fan party, May 19th to 21st.
my God, can you imagine?
It's going to be fun.
I'd be standing on a tabletop, sitting there, probably singing some song and scaring everybody. Scaring somebody.
Hold on. We got 10 seconds. Thank you to Kira, Surf Jared, Deb, Thomas, Samantha, Tim, Steph, and Typical Skeptic for the super chats. Here we go with the second half of the show coming right now. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. We continue on with Dr. Kelly Schutz. We have her until the top of the hour here tonight. And right before the break, Dr. Kelly, you were talking about this experience with black-eyed children. And I believe it was in Las Vegas or somewhere around there where it happened.
No, it was at this fair here where I live. And the one with the kid, with the sharp teeth, people keep in mind that when there's big events, it's almost like, and people are really excited about them. Keep in mind that people almost become a human battery. And there's a lot of energy at this fair. And so it didn't surprise me that something had occurred there. What regarding the first incident, what was even more shocking to me was the incident that I had to deal with myself. And so here's how the second incident went. And that happened, let me see. Well, we had the COVID shutdown. So I guess you could say it was skip a year, and I would have been technically the next year. So here's what happened in my situation. So again, as one of 4 people on the fairgrounds during this event, during the midnight hours, my duty is to go around and make sure that the horses are okay. I mean, the thing is that there are some that do have difficulties, and then we have to deal with that and whatever. But, my job is to make sure that there's no person hiding out in a pen somewhere who's, a little intoxicated, who decided to stay after the fair was technically closed. Okay, so this building is right next to a carnival. And one of the questions I have now regarding, I'm not knocking carnival people, because my great grandfather used to also deal and be part of the carnival. So I have a lot of respect for people that do these types of jobs. But one night, there were some undercover people in there, and they came into the office, and keep in mind, it's usually pretty boring, right? And so they said to me, "We need to tell you something. There's a somebody you gotta pass. There's somebody in here that doesn't belong here." And I said, "What do you mean?" And this was at 1:30 in the morning. Now, keep in mind the fair was closed as of midnight. Okay, so I'm thinking, oh, great. Now I have a situation. I don't even want to be part of this. All right, so I go, lead me or tell me and whatever. Just about the time they were going to come and show me where this person was. The person is meandering up toward the office, just kind of looking at horse stalls and all that kind of thing, looking at horses in their stalls. Okay, all right, so here I go. So I go out to this, he was probably about 24, maybe to 26. And I walk out to him and I'm thinking, I said to them before I left the office, you help me if something happens here, because I don't know what's going to happen here. So I approach this kid and I look him right in the face. And I'm probably not very far away. And I said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Do you realize that the fair is closed here?" And he's looking at me and he's looking like he's kind of out of it. And he started saying stuff like this: "I need to come to your office. I need to get into your office. I need to come in there now. I need to be inside your office." And I looked at him, and there was one thing I noticed. He was bone dry. It was raining cats and dogs outside. There is no way anybody could have come into that building without being drenched or wet, because it was just storming out there really badly. So the first question I thought was, how long has this kid been in this building? All right. And where has he been hiding out? All right. So now I'm saying to him, "But you can't come into the office. You're not allowed to come into the office." "But I need to cut. You have to tell me I can come into your office. I need to come in." So he went on this dialogue, and I started looking at him, and I started looking at his eyes, and I thought, please God, whatever, please do not turn pitch black. Please do not turn pitch black. And he just looked like he was just like gone. And I thought, I got to get this kid out of here. I've got millions of dollars of horses here. I got to do something. So I said, "You stay right here." I said, "I'll be right back." So I went into the office and I said to the people, "Call the police, do it quietly. I will see if I can get this kid out of here." And so, you're amazed. You have to be amazed at your talents in time of protection of things like this. So I went and I sat him down on a bench, and he was just freezing and acting up. And I thought, is he drugged up or what is, "I need to come into your office." He just wouldn't stop. Anyway, long story short, we managed to get him out of there. But then it occurred to me where I saw this kid before. I said, "I know where I've seen him before. I used to play a long time ago. I used to win stuffed animals for sick children in the hospital. So I would go on the midway and I'd play I'd be one mean competitor, trust me, at the water game or anything like that, or these types of games to win animals, stuffed animals for kids. And so I said, "I know where I've seen this guy before. He's from the carnival. How the heck did he get in here?" And so anyway, long story short, I started looking up black-eyed kids and their dialogue and this and that or whatever. And that led me down the road and this path of this. I know he was under possession of some sort. I do not know how he got under possession. Do I believe he was drugged up? No, I don't believe he was drugged up. I believe he had something take him over. What it was, I do not know. But it was very dark, and he sounded like a black-eyed kid. And so with those two stories between the sharp teeth, now I showed the picture of a black-eyed kid at a recent conference that I spoke at. And the audience gasped. And so I'm kind of glad you're not showing it tonight. You don't need people fainting here. But it's just that terrifying. So will these entities, whatever they are, show up wherever? Yeah. Do we know where they come from? Not always. Do we want to be around them? Heck no. And so for me, it's like, poke me, I'm done. I'm sick of having these types of experiences. But Dave, my experiences continue no matter whether I want them or not. So that's my black-eyed kid stories here.
Why do you think they come with such an ominous presence around them, an ominous energy?
I don't know. I'm not even sure. The thing is that when people need to ask themselves, especially those of us who are very sensitive or empaths or may have some psychic abilities or something like that. The big question is, why do we attract some of this stuff? Why does this stuff come to us? Why is it that my third eye or whatever has to beam so brightly that it's like, when you're asking me earlier in the show, how do I handle some of this stuff? Lately, it's more like without shock. Try to do it without fear. I try to do it being very common sense. Sometimes I ignore this stuff. I don't know. I think the bigger question here is, what is it about us that brings this stuff to us? So.
Well, you know what? I know a good friend of mine who has had a face-to-face encounter with a black-eyed kid as well. And, the funny part about it is his home security cameras caught it all, and the boy did not appear on camera.
Right. Right.
So do you think we're dealing with a demonic type entity here?
It's hard to say, because this kid from the carnival, he didn't really act demonic. He just had to get into my office. It was almost like something crawled inside of him. And, then there's been discussions about this. If this has anything to do with any type of alien, and I say that because, at a conference I had heard there might be, it was a wide range, 57 to 100 different types of species out there. Well, how do I know that this was alien or something demonic that just had him at the right time in the right place and the whole 10 yards, and then I had to deal with this, right? I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. I'm still after that answer. I'm still after learning about some of this creepy stuff. And when you say that the camera did pick up on him, just like that first kid, poof, gone.
It is strange.
Yeah.
I want to change topics here again, because we are running out of time. And I do want to get into the telepathy aspect of everything, because I am a firm believer that telepathy works. Yeah. I don't know if I've done it or not. I don't know if I've had it work for me, but it's something that absolutely intrigues me. How did you get started on telepathy?
Well, my first encounter again with telepathy, which telepathy to me is hearing thoughts from something in my head. We have to first start with the definition of what we believe that definition to look like. So when I think of telepathy, I think of something speaking to me, and usually it's speaking within my head. Now, to a psychologist, they would want to put me on some kind of medication, but for the most part, I hear thoughts in my head. And my first encounter was when I photographed that very clear image of the apparitions in that screen window. And so when I had heard, check the genealogy, I never would have thought that in a million years. I mean, out of all the messages, you should have seen me stand there. What? Check the genealogy? But they were right, whatever it was. Okay. That wasn't a hostile encounter. Some people ask if that was possibly trickster. I'm like, no, not always. The guy in Las Vegas, how did you do it? How did you win on this machine that no one has ever won on before? I don't know. Here's what happens to me if you really want to know. I go into a casino, and all of a sudden, if I'm activated, I start hearing thoughts. The thoughts say this to me, and my husband can attest to this. Go forward, turn left. no, turn right. Now sit down. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to play this game. It's boring. Sit down. And these are the thoughts that I hear coming to me in my head. Now, who is putting those thoughts in my head? Everyone would say, well, that's your inner intuition. Not necessarily. I mean, I couldn't necessarily sit there and jerk myself around by saying, go left, good, right, go forward, go backwards. I mean, think about it. Something is downloading from somewhere into me, because there are things that I come up with, Dave, even in my professional life, that I can't even explain. Sometimes I go, good one, like I would never have thought of that. Where is this stuff coming from? Is it being downloaded by something paranormal that's nearby me wanting to hang all over me? Is it something extraterrestrial that is like coming in with thoughts because I'm open to it? I don't know. But that's telepathy for me, is the ability to hear thoughts or directions. Sometimes when people might say that's your inner intuition. Now I'm going to throw this back onto you as interviewer to interviewee. What happens to you?
I've heard those excuse me, those inner voices before.
Yeah.
And I almost died once. They gave me a very stern warning where I almost died. Thankfully I wasn't hurt. My ATV was destroyed going down a mountainside about 250 feet. And it was an eye-opener. And I think that for me, though, when I think telepathy, I'm thinking of, staring at you camera to camera, our eyes being wide open or closed for that matter, and having a conversation brain to brain. That's what I think of when I think of telepathy. So I mean, I understand that there is spirit talking. I understand that there are signals. I got a beautiful signal from a spirit this year. My friend Paul and I, in late spring, we were out looking for a Sasquatch area. I was banging my native drum that I have that's blessed. And all of a sudden I heard this native spirit say to me point blank, say, thank you so much for the drumming. It's beautiful. But you're not going to see anything here tonight. And he goes, go to the other area. And he showed me the area, which I'm familiar with. And he goes, you'll see something cool there. We go to that area. Well, on the east side of us, we had the Northern Lights. On the west side of us, I had said I wanted to see Starlink this year. And Starlink happens to fly by at that exact same time. So I do know how to listen to that, but it's the telepathy people to people that I struggle with.
All right. So I was at a conference a couple of years ago, and I was in this room with 100 people, and I would say their levels of psychicness and sensitivity and empathness was like at least a good 75% up, each of them. And it just so happens that, and I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but of course, anytime that something happened in that room, everybody looked at me. And like I said, I don't know why I look like the showcase piece here, but there was a gentleman that was actually a table to my left. And we were writing things down and talking things. And he was like, literally, now maybe this is not what you're referring to, but we were literally pulling our statements from each other's minds and speaking them exactly the same way, without us even sitting near each other. And now there are times when I can pick up things. My husband can actually tell you the song that you're thinking in your mind, or if you're, how you have a tune sometimes of a song in your mind.
Yeah.
He can actually tell you what song that is. He's that good. I can't do that. But there are things that I can do when I'm connected like a conduit with certain people, and we just kind of light up together. And then all of a sudden, you don't even have to say anything, because you just know what the other person's thinking, and you can finish their sentences for them. You're on the same warpath with them or whatever. I don't know if that's what you're thinking about, But yeah, there are times when I can do that, but not all the time. So
Right. How in tune with the other person do you have to be in order to have that conversation?
I don't know. The thing is that when I was in that room with 100 people, I we did a remote viewing session, and I was the only one in that room that got 100% on two of my pictures that honest to God, it's like they were my battery. It's like woof, and I kind of lit up, and then all of a sudden, and then predicting things. When I'm with the right people, when I'm with people, and I can't explain it, the right energy, um, come gambling with me. You're going to find me picking your horses for the Kentucky Derby. You're going to find me being able to tell you sports plays that are just about to occur, and I can tell you exactly what they're going to do. But I have to be in the right activated mind, and I have to be with the right people. And I don't know. I can't answer that. I just know that there are times when we just light up, and so it's a mystery, Dave. I don't know.
That is, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. It is a mystery, and this is a mystery that captivates, those who've had experiences like yourself,
Mhm.
and those who have never had an experience but would love to, like many in our audience. I mean, do you wish that experience upon those who've never had it?
What type of experience? Would you like
Any
a
type.
black-eyed kid experience? Would you like to have a alien experience? Would you like to have a poltergeist experience? I don't know. Again, be careful what you wish for, because ever since I started wishing to see a ghost at the age of 14, I haven't been able to stop me in the process. And there does come a point where we have our moment, most of us do, where we've had enough because we've seen enough. And so, but for me, Dave, I can't shut it off. It happened. I didn't expect when I was at that jail, at that tourist trap, to literally bring back with me to the cabin something that wanted a drink. Okay. That's creeped my husband out because I don't drink. I mean, I drink once a blue moon, but I'm just saying I don't drink. And for me to call up the hotel manager and literally ask, where's the local bar? I mean, think about that for a moment. It's just kind of like, what kind of experience do you want to have? When I meditate, though, I have to meditate very quietly and clearly, because it seems like I have the ability to manifest things. And that's what I want to leave everyone with this evening is be careful what you wish for.
That is probably the best. And we always say to our listeners here, if you're not experienced,
Mhm.
you want to experience something, make sure you put out the
Yeah,
right intention.
that's
Because saying, "Hey, I don't care what I want to experience, I just want to experience something," that opens up the doors to a lot of
yeah,
negativity that is out there.
correct. Right. Correct. That's correct. And that's the one thing we can all do without in our lives right now, more peace and more quiet. And that's what I strive for. And I always say every day I'm grateful, and I'm not kidding. I'm grateful even in my worst days. I'm still grateful for whatever I'm learning that day, because I do not want negativity to overtake my being, because when that happens, then things start to get a little poltergeisty once in a while. So,
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Well, we have about 90 seconds to go with you tonight. And I want to say a big thank you, Dr. Kelly, for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight and being absolutely amazing for us. Do us a favor, if you could, tell everybody where they can find your podcast and more information on you.
the easiest place to go to is www paranormaluniversalpress.com, because on there, all my websites and how to see my TV show is on there. How to go to my podcast, Podomatic, is on there. And that's just the easiest. Or if you have a question or want to say hi, I'm on Facebook under Paranormal Encounters Podcast Series, or Dr. Kelly Schutz. That's one word. And you should be able to find me there. So thank you, Dave, again for everything.
Hey, not a problem. And it's been a lot of fun having you on here and kind of going over your amazing stories and encounters, because, you know, you're real people. And like we always say to our listeners, you're somebody who has an education background. You've been a lawyer. You've been you've been a professor. It doesn't matter whether you're a professor or you're the local handyman or the local drywaller or, the person who serves you coffee at Starbucks in the morning. People are having experiences, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to correct you a second there, Dave. Paralegal, litigation paralegal. Yeah.
Sorry
not a
about that.
lawyer, but undercover duties. Yes.
Well,
So,
I appreciate you taking the time to come on in. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, we're going to head to the swamp. Then little Timmy Senor is coming in for the UFO report. Spaced Out Radio continues with hour number 3 next on the Mighty SOR. Stay tuned. Trying to hold in a sneeze. Thank you so much. And Dirty Filth, let's take a look at your big picture for the night.
Clunk.
Yeah, make some more noise there, Filthy.
There you go. There's the alien. He's trying to abduct the ghost. You Sasquatch talking again, Dave?
Yeah. Oh, man. I got to go get this sneeze out. I'll be right back. You guys talk.
Okay, Kelly. I'll just email you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Email you in the morning.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this is great. I will be promoting it, showing it on my shows. So I hope you don't mind. And I will make sure I mention your name.
Well, I appreciate it. But yeah, I'll email you and just give me a post office box or something, and I'll ship it out to you.
You can. Do you ever scan them? You can scan it as a JPEG. That would be great.
Sure, if you'd like the digital copy, that's fine. I'd give you the original if you want.
Yeah. Oh no, that's okay. Either a PDF or actually a JPEG would be great. Scan it as a JPEG for me, and you have my address yet, don't you?
I do.
My email address. Okay, yeah, just send it that way because then I can upload it really easily on my TV show and also showcase it on my podcast. Perfect. And on Facebook. I guess that's what I was going to say. So,
did you want to JPEG be known as I can give you like a TIFF file or
JPEG.
Okay, that's fine.
That works the best. Do you want to be known as Dirty Filth, or do you want to be known as someone else?
Just Filth is fine. That's what I've always gone by.
Okay, and I will do that. Yeah, no, very good picture. I like it. You're very talented. You have done a lot of different sketches. I've watched you on several shows, and so.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Do you keep them and put them in? How many of these have you done?
Oh boy, I've done a lot of drawings. Most of the time, though, to be honest, if there's a guest or something, I usually end up just mailing the drawing out to them.
Do you
space for me?
Like a folder or some kind of a portfolio?
There's we'll call it a system that I pile all my artwork in, and it works for me. And Mrs. Filth is like, "This is just a complete mess in here," and I'm like, "No, it isn't. Trust me, it's all good." But
do yourself a favor if you want. You can make sure you sign it with your name, so that copyrights the photograph here. That would be great. Just put your name on there somehow, some way, because that would be good. Because if somebody decides they want to rip it off, it's not that they can't somehow get rid of your name, but I want you to at least have that copyright on there or sign it, Yeah,
it's all good. Don't worry. If anybody's we're off air, so if anybody's a dick about it, I will. The pen is mightier than the sword for a reason, and I will relentlessly make fun of them forever in cartoon form. And
Well, you never know. I mean, where I'm going to post it, it'll be fine. But you never know. It's always the 1%, right? It's always that 1%.
Well, despite what they say, Canadians are not always nice.
Yeah, I know. Are you where are you at? What I lived in Calgary there for a while. Where are you at?
I live in Edmonton.
Oh really? Oh, okay. I think we went up there maybe one time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, we tried. Let's put it to you that way. No, it was all good. Actually, that part of of Canada is very, very beautiful. And so I don't know if you have the trees up there like they do down in the Calgary, Banff area. Do you?
Alberta's got a little bit of everything. We got like the mountains.
Yeah.
So, like east of Edmonton, when you get into like Edson and Hinton, you get the mountains and you get all the heavy spruce. And then you can go south by Calgary down to Drumheller. It's the Royal Tyrrell Museum. If anybody has a chance to go there, I don't work for them, but I'm going to plug it. Royal Tyrrell Museum is an awesome place.
Yeah.
There's Badlands and everything down there. There's also one of the last remaining ferry boats.
Oh, really?
In Alberta down there.
Cool. No, that's cool. Where's that at again?
Yes. In Drumheller, Alberta.
Okay.
Drumheller
Canyon, to be exactly.
Okay.
Exact. Holy.
Well, I'll have to meander there the next time I'm up there.
Well, if you're ever in Edmonton,
Dr. Kelly.
Yes, thank you so much, Dave. We made it. We did it.
We love it. It was great. Thank you. Our audience loved it as well. So thank you for your time.
Well, I hope they were kind. And I will
absolutely.
I'll be in touch after January, and maybe both you and Dirty Filth can come on to the show. It's up to you.
We'd love it. We'd love it.
All right.
All right, Dr. Kelly.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Kelly Schutz, everybody. Thank you. Dirty Filth, you're all done for the night?
Oh, hold on a second. I still got to draw one more cartoon here.
Oh, okay. So you're going to hang out. Good. All right. Well, thank you to Typical Skeptic, Stephen, Tim, Samantha, Thomas, Deb, Surf Jer, Kira, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats. Very much appreciate it. We're going to show some love here coming up. Hour 3 is starting right now.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, at KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clams is set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Radular. Radular is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with our night. Hour number 3 always starts as we head to the swamp and our resident swamp dweller.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. When I was 16 years old, I stayed at my grandparents' house in Crawford County, Arkansas during a Thanksgiving vacation. To my knowledge, at this point, my grandparents were highly religious and were relatively quiet people and pretty friendly. This place I wasn't so scared of, although nothing really scary had happened to me up until the stories I'm about to share. There was just odd and heavy feelings in specific areas of the home up until that point. There weren't any extra rooms except the spare room that I, for some reason at the time, had an extremely uncomfortable feeling about and refused to stay in there on my last night. I was asleep on the couch, and as per any spooky story, I felt something watching me. I rolled over expecting to see one of my parents, and the room was the darkest darkness I had ever witnessed. The only thing I could see was, well, this shadow. Initially, I couldn't wrap my head around what I was looking at and stared at it longer than I probably should have to try to solidify what I was looking at. The first thing I noticed was its gigantic smile, which captivated me and gave me some sense that I didn't need to be scared. Then, I saw right where its head should have ended was where another head actually started, and it had the same face, but it was upside down, displaying an upside-down smile. It had giant ears like a cat on the top of its head, and straight up looked like something out of Where the Wild Things Are, but grotesque. Its eyes were beady, but yellow, and not anything like puppy dog eyes I had ever seen. It held this vast grin the entire time that we stared at each other. Its fur was black and brown and was short and shaggy. It stood with its knees slightly bent, its arms out in front, its elbows drawn in, and its hands looked limp. After about 30 seconds at least of unbroken eye contact, I told myself in bed, if I die, I die, and rolled over and went back to sleep. Nothing else happened that night, and since it was my last night sleeping in that house, my dad picked me up in the morning, and I didn't really think about it much after that for quite some time. I don't remember whether I told my dad or not, but I never stayed the night in that house again. There was just something traumatizing about the whole event. About 2 years later, I told my mom about what happened. It didn't even faze her, and she said that the room I had that eerie and uncomfortable feeling in used to be her room. She said that she and my cousin were staying the night together one night. My mom said that in the middle of the night she felt something warm get into bed with her. She said it was so heavy when it got into bed that she almost rolled into it because it made such a massive indent where it lay. She said she asked my cousin to roll over and got no response. My mom rolled over to see that there was nothing there, and there was no more indent. She said she touched it where she felt it get into bed with her, and it was warm to the touch like someone had been in there with her all along. She then tells me that before my grandparents were the hunky-dory people they were, my grandpa specifically practiced black magic and was not a great person sometimes, while my grandma just let things happen. She said that the neighbor who lived about a mile away, very few people live in that area, especially at that time because it was just land and forest surrounding the area for about 5 miles any way you go. And my grandpa did not get along with this neighbor. My mom said that one day my grandfather had gotten into it with that man and made a doll out to be the neighbor. My mom said that my grandpa took that doll, went into the forest, into the back of their house. They nailed it to a tree with a nail through the middle of the doll's head. According to my mom, the man my grandpa made the doll of died of stage 4 brain cancer a few months after this incident. I'm assuming this is why my grandparents made such a massive switch in their lives. But before my grandpa died, he always said he wanted to die in the church. When he died, he was the last person left in the service area, and he had a heart attack and keeled over, hitting his head on the pew, causing him to have a stroke and die right then and there.
Wow. Swamp Dweller taking it to the real tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I love it when the Swamp comes in here. Swampy joins us every Monday through Friday night, kicking off hour number 3. But if you want more stories, head on over to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads. Hit subscribe on his channel. You get thousands of stories for free. All right, let's shift gears here as we're going to get into the UFO world. Tim Senor, we call him the Timbit around here, joins us for the UFO report.
Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know.
It's always good to see you here, Tim Senor. You know, it's been a quiet week so far to kick off this week of alien UFO/news. But there's a lot that we could go over tonight just to kind of refresh and review a lot of things, including the SCU. But first, how you been doing, buddy?
Oh, I've been doing really well. Thanks a lot for asking, Dave. Just family stuff, keeping healthy, and enjoying a little downtime. So, how about yourself?
You know what? I find myself in a state of flux right now. I really do. In regards to UFOs, and I was thinking about this because, I'm a gym rat now. I go there pumping weights, pumping the iron, so to speak, trying to shed some ungodly weight that I've allowed myself to.
We all
build
noticed
up.
too. You are looking fantastic. Keep it up.
You know what? I feel better. I
Yeah,
do.
We can tell.
I do feel better. The one thing that I've noticed, I don't cough as much anymore.
I was gonna say you're breathing. That's the first thing I know.
I'm breathing.
Yeah.
I'm breathing.
And your nose, right? Everything. A little better.
Yeah, I'm not feeling very good today.
Oh, okay.
I'm not feeling very good today. And I think I got a little bit of a bug that I'm going to be able to shake here pretty quick.
It's going around.
But yeah, I know.
My
But
kitties have it.
I'm still in a state of flux here. Okay, regarding UFOs, because I love this subject. I'm passionate about this subject, Tim. Okay, and it just seems, as an experiencer, I'm not in this business talking about all this stuff because I want to. I'm here because I have to. And I mean that with all due respect to myself and our audience and everything. I have to because I need to figure out what's happened to me over the last 11 years. Okay. And, coming up on December 13th, it'll be 11 years official for me in my weird experiences kicking off and going into full gear. And long story short, okay, I had no aspirations to do a radio show. I had no aspirations to build what we've called this little mini empire of spaced out radio, where we have, 6 or 7 terrestrial radio stations now. We have our digital networks, podcasts, we get, 60, 70,000 downloads per month.
Wow.
On this show.
Amazing.
It's incredible. That's not a lot compared to others, but for us, it is a lot. Yeah. And the point that I'm getting at is this, Tim, is when somebody in a position and as involved in the UFO world as I am cannot figure out who to side with, who's telling the truth, who's not telling the truth, where are we getting the right story from these days? It really brings a solemn attitude towards what we are doing, because I find myself becoming very, very, I don't want to say negative, it's because that's not the term, but very aloof, I will say, regarding UFOs. It's like every time we turn, what we've already told our audience, we're having to give them an I told you so. You know what I'm saying? And I can't stand that about this field. They're not about answers. Disclosure is not about answers. It's about cover up. They don't want to admit that there's a confirmation going on, which there is. Anybody who films anything, and you're a filmmaker, you're a guy who's going out trying to catch videos of unidentified objects in the sky. How do we believe that anymore? I believe it because you're my friend. You're not going to pull the wool over my eyes. But there's going to be people out there, Tim, who say, oh, all you caught was satellites. All you caught was Starlink. All you caught was this, because all they see is a bunch of dots. I just don't know where we are expected to go with this field anymore. The cover-up is real. The battle for control is real. They don't want to give us the truth. And when we think we're close to the truth, something gets pulled from under our feet again. And, Monica here in the chat room says, Dave, I feel you. It's exhausting. She's exactly right.
Yeah.
This is an exhausting topic because we end up going around in circles. But realistically, Tim, that's all we can do when that's all the information that is provided. And this cover-up goes way deeper than people think. It's more than Roswell. It's fast-forwarding to the times when we're going to be sending humans to the moon and humans to Mars. This is where we're getting to, people. And it's scary, Tim. And I don't know where to turn.
Well, for me, it's really refreshing to hear you say that, because this topic strangely has a really strange way of leveling the play field for everybody. So you have 11 years of experience with deep knowledge and understanding, a lot of it insider knowledge. And here am I fresh into it 3 years, and we're right in the same place, buddy. And it's just simply because you don't know where to seek out that truth. And it's such a muddled field that every day there's more information on it, makes it harder to find the truth in there somewhere. And recently, Tim Burchett had a great interview where he talks about this exact thing, where even for people in Congress, they're struggling for that same information, not just us regular Joes looking for it on YouTube. But you bring up a really great point that you're feeling in flux where, you don't know where to turn. You don't even have a feeling of where things are going to go, where you usually do. I think that says a lot. Is that the success that you're feeling right now? That's the success of them waiting this topic out with you in particular, and potentially with each individual in your chat and the whole people that read this when it's in the media. Are they just waiting us out? We feel in flux, I think, like you're saying, because of that lack of solid information. They're making commitments and then not following through. Tim Burchett has meetings with people in the know and then they cancel. Seems like there's a huge withdrawal happening. And so perhaps that's the flux. It's the out portion, of the ebb and flow right now that we always talk about with information. I think we're poised for disinformation and we should be careful. Again, we're around election time too. So.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, all the time, Tim, you get approached, I get approached by good people saying, what is the truth? What is the truth? And that's the problem that we have here. How do we, as journalists, as radio show hosts, as commentators of this subject, how do we tell our audience what is the truth?
Yeah. Well, I think you can start out by saying what we know definitively, which is there's been an obvious cover-up for 75 years. You can point people in the direction of films and documentaries that you yourself have even worked on to show distinctly how NASA has particularly covered this topic up in some aspects. You can point to great articles written by people like Daniel Otis, who are really, they have their finger pretty much on the pulse of truth. And so.
Right. Let me just pause right there because you mentioned Daniel Otis. We originally had him scheduled for a few nights from now to come on. This is a CTV and Vice reporter who's been covering the story with excellence up here in Canada. But he had to reschedule with us, and taking his place this coming Thursday will be Homer Hickam. And if you don't know who Homer Hickam is, you might remember the 90s movie October Sky, starring Tobey Maguire, where a bunch of buddies got together to launch rockets and launch them into the sky. That's the Homer Hickam we're talking about. And and we're going to be talking about going back to the moon, NASA, rockets, Mars, aliens. We're going to get into it all with him on Thursday. So I just want to make that point since you brought up Daniel Otis. Sorry for cutting you off there.
No, that's great. And a quick shout out and hello to Jim Goodall in your chat. I just saw him, so a big wave and hello to him. Hello, sir. And
Yeah,
so
what a legend. What a legend.
it's always
I
great
have
to
to
see
say
him.
I have to say that every time Jim Goodall comes into our chat room. What a legend. This is a
Indeed.
guy, okay, true story. This is a guy, and I don't even know if you know this one, Tim. He flew inside the cockpit of an SR-71 while it was flying inside a C5 Galaxy being transported.
I didn't know that. How is that possible?
Well, they took the wings off, and they put the body of the SR-71 inside the C5 Galaxy. The Galaxy's at altitude, and Jim hopped
Okay.
into the cockpit of the SR-71. So
Wow.
technically, he was flying a Blackbird
Okay.
while, or
I
it
like
was
it.
an A-12. Pardon me, it was an A-12. Thank you, Jim.
I'm
Technically, he flew an
so cool he's
A-12.
here. I love that.
I know,
To correct
inside
you.
a C5 Galaxy.
Yeah, he's amazing. And you just got to put the quarter in the slot with Jim and then just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah.
It's just a
And you know,
pleasure.
to all our fans out there, Jim will be one of our special guests at our Las Vegas party, May 19th through 21st at the
Yes.
Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's our second annual fan party. And we're going to be putting more information up here very quickly because we want as many audience members to come on in and join us there. Tickets for that weekend. Get this, how much tickets are. We've scheduled the prices, Tim. For
It's
a
worth
weekend of hanging out
thousands.
with us?
Oh, a couple of grand?
No, $60.
What? Oh
And if
my
you want
God.
and if you want a VIP package, it's $100.
Oh, come on. Everyone can do that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. $60
Good for
to
you.
hang
That's
to hang
amazing.
out with us for the entire weekend. Or if you want a VIP package, which will come with a swag bag, it's $100. I
Dude,
don't know. I don't know
awesome.
where you're gonna get that much people together. Last year we had 60 some people, and we had some incredible guests like Jim. And I know Jim will probably bring his protege Michael Schratt with him. We know Merle is coming. We know Lorian Fenton's going to be there, and Melinda Leslie and Misha
Awesome.
Johnson
Wow.
and a number of other people who've been on this show. The Sasquatch Boys of Nate and Corey. I call him Nate Foot and Hallmark from Wibbs, and Carter Bouchard's going to be there. Bigfoot Michigan
Oh,
Rob.
wow.
We're going to be having a great time. And we want everybody to get on in there, and we'll give more details coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. I'll definitely be
Yeah.
there with my crew. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, if you want to go now and put your reservation in, just go to email us at info@spacedoutradio.com. That's info@spacedoutradio.com. Let us know what package you want, if you just want a regular package or a VIP. And then what you want to do is just put your name on the list for right now, and then we'll get back to you to confirm everything. Man, I know we got to get through Christmas first, okay? But I am pumped for Vegas this year, man. I am pumped to get back there, and we're gonna do some real special stuff for our people and our guests for that night, and our VIPs and everybody like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun hanging out, and I look forward to it. Very much look forward to it.
Me too. And I'll be bringing all my toys and my gear. So if people want to take a look at some Gen 3 night vision and take a look at what radar looks like, we're going to try and bring all the mobile versions of all of that stuff. So people can
that'll
check it
go
out.
good. That'll go good because we are planning, Tim, on the Sunday night. We are planning on actually doing a skywatch outside of Vegas.
Yes.
And so I know Misha Johnson and Melinda Leslie want to do one.
Yeah.
And if you got the motorhome there, hey,
100%.
that'll be a part of the fun. By the way, that's included in the cost. That's included in
That's
the
amazing.
cost.
Yeah, a night watch
Yeah.
is amazing to do with Melinda Leslie, period. That's the reason to go right there.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. And Jim will be bringing some books. So people that are looking for signed Jim Goodall books, I know I will. I'm going to bring the few I have. Maybe I'll have some extras. So that's excellent.
Well, we got to get him autographed. Got to get him autographed. I mean, Jim is Jim Goodall. There's not enough good words on this planet to describe the legendary status of Jim Goodall and the quality human being he is. And he's a real bright spot for our field and flight and space travel and secret space programs and secret flights and Area 51 and stealth programs. He is the brains of it all. He really is. Tim, when we come back from the break, we're going to get back into the UFO world because the SCU, the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, gave out a big report here, and we're going to talk about that and what it's all about. Could the SCU take a real lead in disclosure? Here's how they'll do it when we talk next. Obi Flett's already pumped up for Vegas. You got to see Obi Flett. He's a monster, man. He is an absolute monster. Big
Cool.
dude. Big
Awesome.
dude.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to sit in on Deocean's Deep Woo. She had a live show. Got to meet her. Very, very interesting live show. Yeah. She's out in your chat there. I have chat on tonight, everyone. So feel free to put questions in caps, I guess, if you've got something, we could hit. Keep it on topic, I guess. Dave likes that. But yeah. Dave, it's so good to see you, buddy. Look at that smiling face. You've got some energy. You've got energy tonight.
Oh, dude. I you know what? I'll tell you what did it for me was I woke up really groggy. I went to bed at like 10 o'clock last night, and I woke up really groggy this morning. And, I took my, usually when I wake up groggy, I get ready. I take my son to the bus stop. And because it's cold outside, you usually get that cold hit of air, and it wakes you up real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it didn't do that.
Maybe you're depleted. Might be depleted or something.
I went to the shower, and I hop in the shower this morning, and I brush my teeth in the shower. I know, weird for some people. That's weird. I just enjoy doing it there. And I hit that spot on my throat twice with the gag reflex.
Oh.
And, I had my mini wheats for breakfast. And the next thing you know, I'm puking in the shower.
What?
And right from there, man, I have felt like crap all day. Been having puke burps right up until like minutes ago.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, it was it's weird, man. I just don't feel 100%.
Yeah. Well, whatever this lurgy is that's going around right now, both of my little ones are not feeling great. And it is that kind. It's the upchuck kind, which is no fun.
Oh.
So I hope
you gotta realize, man, I am such a wimp and a baby when I puke.
Oh, really? You hate it?
I am the biggest baby. I'm crying my eyes out, and all this kind of stuff. I cannot handle puking.
Yeah.
I hate puking.
Yeah, that sucks. I kind of I had a stomach thing for a while as a young man, and then I had a procedure, so I don't have it anymore, but I got really good at throwing up. It was just like a bah, and then fine. I could probably have thrown up between classes and no one would have known. But
not me, man.
It's no fun. Yeah.
No, it's not fun at all, and I don't appreciate it. And
I hope you get over it.
Not
quickly.
A fan of it. Yeah, I'm sure after a good sleep tonight, I'll be okay. But it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You know? What do you do?
Well, it is kind of that time of year. And are your little ones in school?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so they could be bringing home the same sort of stuff my little ones are.
Yeah.
Yep. No fun.
Oh, look at Jim Goodall blaming me. He's down at even my rescue German Shepherd, Scarlet, barfed 3 times this afternoon. It's all your fault. Oh, thanks,
It's going
Jimmy.
around. Even Jimmy's dogs are not feeling well. Bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. Leave it all to me and blame me.
Oh my gosh. The unknown is throwing me some real compliments here. Look at that. You're still young, Tim, 29. Buy this guy a case of beer.
Plus 40.
Yeah.
Tim.
I'm 52. 52.
Yeah, you're old.
I had to think about it. I was born in 1970. I like to just count backwards from that.
Yeah, you're old.
He knew. He's laughing. Yeah. A little gray and nothing going on up here. So
I'm getting my hair cut Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're keeping it tight.
Yeah. I got
it looks great.
You get the beard trimmed up.
Nice.
Hey, I want to say a big thank you to Cat Chaser, Kira, Surf Jer, Deb, Thomas, Samantha, Tim, Steven, and Typical Skeptic for the super chats tonight. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much for your love and support. Here we go with the final half hour, everyone. We're taking Tim to the top. We're rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for the love. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. And our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Tim Senor is here with the UFO report. We're going to get into the SCU, but first, Tim, I gotta give a shout out to our listeners here. We're at 19,502 subscribers on YouTube.
Wow.
498 away. I don't ask for a lot, okay? But I really, really want to hit 20,000 subscribers before the end of 2022. That was my goal at the beginning of the year, and we are like right there. We're right there. So if you haven't already gone to our YouTube channel, okay, to check out our archives or listen to the live show and be in the chat room or whatever, we'd appreciate it if you went on over to our website or to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, and hit subscribe. It really mean a lot to hit 20,000 because you hit YouTube value. You have different jump rooms. You have, your first hit is 1,000. And then it takes you forever to get to 10,000, depending on your channel, the majority of them. And then once you hit 10,000, your next goal is 20. But from 20 to 50, it hits the algorithms different. And apparently the numbers just start to ride on in from there. So I'm curious to see if that actually works.
Yeah, you deserve a wide audience. You've got a really great show. Your guests are so diverse. Your audience gets a taste of everything in the paranormal. It's an incredible show, and you've worked really hard on it. And so you deserve as much success as you get, bud. You really do. This is your blood, sweat, and tears we're seeing. So
We're trying.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, tell us what happened with the SCU, the Scientific Coalition of UAP Studies.
Indeed. So they had a presentation, and they released their first wave of data, and they released a bunch of videos from that live event to YouTube in a succession, I believe, of maybe half a dozen videos, about an hour and a half long each. And so you can go to SCU and find all of those videos, which stands for the Scientific Coalition for Unidentified Aerospace Phenomenon. And they're pretty specific on that. And so it's great. And so Richard Hoffman is the chair, and he presents, and they have a few speakers that are coming in via web. But basically, it was a presentation of their first wave of findings. Some of it included in the film by Carolyn Corey and UAPX. So some of their results are also included in there. But it is basically a brief on how they go about their process, and then the fact that they have something like 160 scientists that work in this coalition. So it's not just a small group of people working on this, and they work on a diverse group or a diverse array of topics within this phenomenon. So, for example, and we can go through it, and I would love to kind of brief some of the slides that I did keep and some of the notes that I took. But for example, they have it broken up into divisions where groups of researchers will do certain projects, and they can elect to be on certain projects. And in fact, they're even asking for people that are interested to come and donate time to help research some of this stuff so we can all get involved. But they do things like research a military base and all the sightings that are affiliated with that location. And then they'll collate as much data as they can on that and present it. And so the groups will each pick a different area, and they all kind of collate that information as a group together. And then they can kind of read what is considered a hotspot and what isn't, whether it had nuclear devices or it didn't, whether the public reported it or it was a military report. And so they're starting to kind of refine things that way. And so a lot of their research is done via armchair, if you will, but a lot of it is also conducting deep dives into already existing information on events, if you will. And I'm not sure if I'm being totally clear on that. But if you like, we can kind of go over what their releases were. But what was your general opinion, just kind of like a wide stroke, hearing this as being an independent public resource?
Hear my sigh.
I understand.
There's nothing new. In my opinion, I think the direction and the directive of the SCU is completely wrong. I think that they have an opportunity with the absolutely brilliant minds that they have to be putting forward more than what they are doing. For a long time, the SCU wanted to be kind of like the quiet, hidden group of scientists, where almost like a cult where nobody knows the names of the members, but we know the organization is out there. But it's been the last couple of years where they've really stepped up, and I know a couple people very closely on the board of directors that I speak with on this, and I've mentioned that to them. I think that the biggest problem that they have is that they are going after the exact same thing as what the government wants and what the military wants, and we're not seeing that. And it's not just about the data of dots and speed and convergence and the technology. This is a subject that goes well beyond that. So what exactly are they looking for? What is their mantra? I don't think they have a primary directive that they could honestly come out and say. Now, I could be wrong about that. I might be being a little bit critical. Okay. I also know they don't have a proper media person to get the information out. The media person they use is someone who's never worked in media before. And he doesn't know how to get press releases out. The SCU, the minute the To the Stars Academy came out in 2017, the SCU should have been right there, opening their mouths, getting on the press with everything. And they haven't done it. They haven't done it. So I'm a little skeptical of what their directive is because, I hear so many different things, and I think there's a lot of potential of what they could do to prop up the UFO world, but in my opinion, they're wasting all of these scientists for nothing.
Well, I am completely not surprised by your position because you and I are totally always kind of left and right on this. And so, I can speak for them, and in this, they have a very clear objective. They have gone very methodically about this in order to not only put this organization together, but to get funding. So, go ahead.
Let me ask you this: if they have a clear objective, okay, why is it not public?
Oh,
why have they not? Yeah, but putting it on a website does nothing. Does nothing, Tim. We've got stuff on our website that I know listeners of ours have never been to our website.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. The SCU has the power to be the number one voice of reason, not political, not governmental, but strictly scientific regarding the unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah.
And they haven't done it. And I've talked to one of the board members on this.
Yeah.
About this, on how they have dropped the ball due to their media person who seems to get everything he wants in the UFO world. Okay. I'm sorry. I have a real problem with people who claim to be journalists and have never worked a day in journalism.
Right.
All right.
And if I may just briefly rebut, so they just briefed Congress. That's massive. So UAPX, which is a division, and then let's consider this. So I personally consider them a resource for any of my data. Anything I consider interesting, I can run it by them. But again, I'm a nuts and bolts guy in the same field as them. But I think perhaps you are going to start seeing some change because this is a very young SCU you're seeing, and it is very much form fitting to the needs of the public. I think that comments that you make and other influencers, they're taking that stuff on board. I think that they're very much a committee that listens. And I mean, in my experience, and after meeting Richard Hoffman and having an interaction with him, I can tell that he is somebody that absolutely is very fluid with these concepts and understands that there's no real decisive leader in this or real one correct voice. And I think that the fact is that they do have a very clear objective here, and it is to lend support to the narrative that this is real, and anything that they can do to prove it out, I think, is part of that objective. And having Ryan Graves speaking for them, and representing the fact that in his experience, this is very real, and it needs to be considered because it is part of our era.
Ryan Graves is right, and I apologize. What an ass I am right now for cutting you off. I apologize on that.
Please,
Ryan Graves is brilliant. Let's be honest. He's a former fighter pilot. He is now taking on the UAP stuff very, very seriously, built a company around it. Great. Okay. What's Ryan Graves, though? Military.
Yeah.
If the SCU wants to be successful in this, they can't go Galileo. Galileo, in my opinion, is completely tainted with scientists who are attached to the government, attached to alphabet agencies, attached to military organizations,
Yeah.
people who aren't scientists. Okay, that's
No, you're
Galileo.
absolutely right. Yep.
SCU has to stay straight and narrow. They need a proper press people who know how to write a press release, who know how to email a press release to the major media outlets, because they haven't had any coverage throughout this entire phenomena on the news the last 5 years. And I blame their PR person for that, who once again is posing as a journalist and is not a journalist. Okay. And I brought that point up to board members too. I said, would you hire a golf cart mechanic to cook you breakfast in bed if you're at an exclusive restaurant or at an exclusive hotel?
Yeah.
No. But he plays one at home.
Right.
He plays a chef at home.
No, I
What's
like
the
what you're
difference?
saying, because it's
Okay.
important to disseminate that information.
No, and look, I'm not putting the blame on one person.
Yeah.
This is an entire board that wanted to stay quiet. Now they want to get loud. They don't know how to get loud. I've tried explaining it to them, how to make it loud. I even volunteered my time to do it. Okay? And no, this isn't sour grapes or anything like that, because frankly, I don't have time for much. I barely have time to enjoy my own life. You know that, Tim. You know, but
Yeah.
But the whole point that I'm saying is this: if you're going to do it right, do it right. There's nobody questioning the SCU's brains or what their study says. These people are brilliant. They are. They're educated. They have worked in places and seen things and have, that the majority of us will never, ever see. But we need the SCU to be on our team. And I don't know if they fully understand what that means, Tim. I don't think they do. And they might come out and say, look, we're on everybody's team, which is the progressive way of doing things. We don't need that. This goes back to what I was saying in the last half hour, where I feel really troubled by the UFO world right now. Who is on our team? Who is on our team, Tim? We think Lou Elizondo is on our team,
Right.
but he works for Space Force. We think Travis Taylor is on our team, but he works for Space Force. We think other people are on our team, but guess what? They're all tied to the alphabet agencies. Who is on our team to allow us as the public to have accountability? Because you know what? Right now, even with Ryan Graves involved with them, guess what? The only videos that matter and the only experiencers that matter are whom, Tim?
I don't know. You
Come
answer
on,
for
you
me.
can dig in deep. You
The
can dig in deep.
individual, the individual experiencer.
The military. The military.
Are the ones that'll
Military
benefit?
eyewitnesses. Those are the only eyewitnesses that count right now, are
I see what you're
military
saying.
eyewitnesses and civilian pilots. So what you're doing and what you're putting your amazing time into, Tim, does not matter to the SCU.
Right.
Does not matter. What we do on this show does not matter to the SCU. It should, because they need to be our voice. They need to be.
Right.
And they don't know how to get there. Because they have a few people on there who have no problem saying they're better than us. Okay? And they are wanting to go down this government nuts and bolts that doesn't prove anything. And it's going to be a crap show and a failure when it doesn't have to be. Doesn't matter how much good stuff you put out. Anyways, I'm rambling. You go ahead.
Well, no. I mean, I absolutely understand where you're positioned. The thing is, they're really attempting transparency, and they're, really trying to remain unbiased. They do show their work. They are looking to present, but let's consider this. It was a little bit hard to watch Richard Hoffman have to start off his presentation by explaining that these are their first round of results and that he already knows that skeptics are going to tear it apart. These are brilliant minds that are very tentative putting a toe in this water because of how it's already just such a hot topic, how, it's really hard to present any data without it being just shredded by the piranhas in the water that you drop it in. And so here are some people that are trying to take a real serious look at this. And they are, believe it or not, on our side. They are looking to find some evidence of something that is very elusive, right? And so the first 5 minutes of the presentation from SU is explaining that none of this is definitive. We are open to people's scrutiny and we're open to other results. This is our first round of results. They shouldn't have to even explain that. It's a shame that this topic yields that kind of sensibility even from our top scientists. It shouldn't be like that. They should be very comfortable presenting. And I found that a little upsetting. Now, here, that's just me, and that was the first round. And this is a very young company that we're seeing. I would love to see better PR coming in the next year. I would also like to see them taking on more programs that are independent, like myself, which they are, because I've already arranged for these sorts of things. But I can see that this is a company that is literally just a blob that's been thrown in the air, and each time it comes down, it's going to look a little different. So I encourage you to keep an open mind, but I do understand your skepticism. We've been burned in the past, but again, this is a refreshing change, and I would love you to consider the fact that we do have people working tirelessly to get some details that we can actually call provable evidence, because it's the one thing in this field we lack is real proof and evidence. And that's what they're bringing. So please dive into the videos that they've presented. Let your mind wander. If you need to reserve, an opinion until the end, go for it. But there's a lot of detail, a lot of data there. So try to just get through it. But I do feel that this is a path in the absolute right direction. We need more independent researchers on this, Dave. I know you may not agree, but the only way forward for me, I'm not that concerned about sharing the results that I personally get, but I don't mean that way. I mean, like, it's important that we remain focused on they're not so concerned with PR because the important facts are the numbers. They're focused on the data. You know what I mean? And I kind of understand that. I'm very focused on that too.
I understand with what you're getting at, but I will say this to the thousands of people who are going to listen to this show: the data means nothing. The data means nothing. And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. Okay. And we can continue that when we come back. Okay. But these people want results. They want answers to what we're seeing in the sky. Okay. Numbers and figures aren't going to do that. People working for them, understanding what they're about, like Dr. Edgar Mitchell's free experiencers. That's what they want. They want those results. Tim will agree to disagree on that, my friend. That's why I love you, is we can always have a good, candid conversation about things like that. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on Spreaker, YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Gee, Tim, I hope I didn't sound too much of an asshole when I said that like that. I hope I didn't. That
It's your
wasn't
show.
my
Buddy,
no, but that wasn't
it's your show.
that wasn't my purview to do that, and I apologize for that.
Man, I love your opinion. You would expect most people to be thrilled, and the fact that you're not allows me to dig a little deeper into why I am. And so your opinion is probably a very popular one, and so for me to try to rebut it is a lot of fun. I have no problem with it. You're great, buddy. Don't change a thing.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? These are good people.
They
Like
are.
these people who are tuned in right now, they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have had major experiences that they cannot figure out or understand or have affected their lives, okay, to the point where they have troubles going to sleep at night. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you've been in those shoes where you're woken up in the middle of the night by some extraterrestrial presence, okay, and you feel your body being taken away, you never understand.
Yeah.
And the problem with the SCU is the majority of them don't understand. They don't understand the entire concept. They can sit there and say they do with the numbers and everything like that, but this isn't about numbers for the field. Okay? Now, I could be totally wrong here, Tim. I really could, because I'm speaking out of passion. I'm not speaking out of scientific knowledge. Okay? But the one thing I do know, whether it's myself or whether it's anybody in our audience, we're done with dots. We're done with some scientists telling us it's friggin' swamp gas or lights in the ocean that are reflecting.
Right.
We know what we saw. We're not stupid. And when people like me and people like our audience, they're tired of being treated like we are stupid.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, Tim.
Right.
And the SCU and members of the SCU, because I've talked to them, they don't understand. They're more interested in the scientific aspect of the phenomena, like you are, which is fantastic. We need that. Okay. But the question is, and if I was to interview or to speak in front of the SCU, the question I would ask them point blank is, whose team are you on? Whose team are you on?
Could I ask, if you were a member of SCU, how, or even a director, how would you direct them to support what you need?
Well, you do need, trust me when I say this, okay? Now it's going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. You do need the data that people like you are supplying. You need that, okay? But you have to be able to take it one step further. You have to guarantee the public that this is for them. It's not for private study. It's not for university study. It's not for governmental study. Okay. Look, remember, when this all started, Tom DeLonge who believes that this is all evil, that these are demons, okay, and his trusting belief in Peter Levenda that this is all satanic, okay.
Yeah.
He tried to buy the free experiencer statistics prior to the Stars Academy going public. Now, the free experiencer statistics show that over 80% of all experiencers had a positive experience. If a guy believes that this is all satanic, why would he want to buy those stats? To cover them up. Okay? And thank God Ray Hernandez and the rest of the team there were smart enough to catch on to that. They knew that those experiences were going down the toilet,
right,
if they accepted that check.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
But
I
that's
mean,
where it all started. The public, how does the public, so let's go back here for a second, Tim, and I'm just rambling here. I apologize, bud. Okay? How does the public trust any scientist in this field? Like you said, Rich Hoffman, who is a great guy. He's a fantastic dude. One of the nicest people I've met in this field. Okay? When he has to start off his speech by saying, hey, we know we're going to take a little bit of heat for this. Okay? That's not fair.
yeah.
It really isn't. But here's the thing. The UFO public is used to being screwed over, especially recently, by scientists and people they trust. And then finding out that they're part of an alphabet agency or military.
Right.
Okay? If that's like me telling you a secret, Tim, and then you telling me, yeah, I'm going to keep that quiet, or yeah, I'm going to help you out. But then you go blab it to your government agencies.
Yeah. You make me think of a great quote from Woody Allen where he said, I would never join a club that would have me as a member. And I think that rings true here, Dave. Like, you wouldn't want to join SCU because they would have you as a member. Like any club that would have me as a member, I am not joining.
I would love to join. Look, I don't have all the answers. But the one thing that if I was part of SCU as a true member of the media, not the fake one that they have, okay, the first thing that I would be doing is straightening out that media department. I would explain to the team and the board of directors the importance of our job. But I would need, in order to do that job, I would need to know what is their focus. What is the focus of it all?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it just about dots? Is it about crash retrievals? Is it about teaming up with Galileo or some other infiltrated organization? What's it about?
Right.
And then we move from there. Right? Then we move from there. And if there are no answers, then I don't become a member. But if they want my help, okay, which they have to prove to me that they are there for John and Jill Q Public, who has the videos of, like you do, Tim, who has the experiences, who has their doorbell cameras getting lit up at night, and all of a sudden when they find out they got missing time. Okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit going on that doesn't get covered by dots. So what are they covering? Are they there to be the scientists of the people, or are they there for their own greed?
Yeah, and so I definitely encourage you just to watch all those videos they just recently released with their current data and information, and they propose all of their objectives, and they tell you very clearly what they've been doing and who those people are that have been working on those projects. They're doing some really interesting things that I mean everybody would be interested in. their transparency shows me that it is for me. They get back to me instantly with information. It's a two-way street. And so, I mean, they are proposing to be for us, for you, for me, for your viewers. And so far, they've demonstrated just that. And so I understand your skepticism, and you haven't seen perhaps all of the videos that they just recently released, because I think you may see some change. You may see some ideas on where they're going to be by this time next year. And they've definitely made leaps and bounds from where they were when they started. They have videos, they have breakdowns in this most recent release.
And I think that's great.
Yeah. And in fact, they have a great piece of new information. So you said there's nothing new. Here's some brand new information I guarantee you've never heard before. They have over 100 specific descriptions and breakdowns of different forms of the phenomenon that they have evidence and data on. Over 100. And so this is brand new. They have descriptors, and they have things that they're detecting. So let's say, for example, a UAP demonstrates this kind of activity in the sky, and it demonstrates this wavelength in color. They are assigning that now a number, a numerical assignment. And with that, they are able now to kind of collate UAP into categories, if you will. And there's over 100 different categories that they're working within to help them try and break down some of the things that we are seeing, because they're not all just dots in the skies at all. And obviously, Gary Nolan is working heavily on the experiencer side of this. And by no means don't think that he's not interacting with SCU, because he absolutely is. And others doing work like Gary Nolan. Just because he's the most vocal doesn't mean he's the only. And there are people within the coalition, you haven't heard their name yet, but they're doing the same sort of work. So I mean, I encourage you to just totally sink yourself into it if you're really interested, because there is quite a lot of activity taking place there. And their transparency demonstrates that it is for us. So,
and I agree with you. I think it's great. Okay. And yes, I do have to look at them. I really do.
Stay open-minded. Just maybe they'll do
and I'm
what we
willing to be
hope.
open-minded because I want to see SCU succeed.
Me too.
I do. Okay. But once again, teaming up with certain scientists who are working for certain alphabet agencies does the public no good. Okay. And and here's the other thing. If these statistics were so mind-blowing and moving, why aren't they in the news? Okay. Because they have a dimwit working as their PR person who's never worked in journalism.
And I also feel that, this topic is working against them. You can push this out into the public purview, but they may not receive it. Just because it's not being picked up by the media may mean that this is like in that we're in the ebb stage right now.
Are you telling me, hold on a second here,
they wouldn't necessarily pick this story up because it's not
Mr. Fox News, okay, the one I want to punch in the face, Tucker Carlson, who will do anything on UFOs right now because he knows his ratings spike. He would eat this up. But the PR person doesn't have any connections to the mainstream media. You would think that someone who lies about their credentials would have connections outside of putting together a UFO conference. I said to one of the board members one day, I said, you guys are all pretty brilliant. I said, why don't you check the resume?
Right. And you've got YJ in your chat, and he's just saying that we just need the bodies in the craft at this point. He's ready. He's like you. He's had over a decade of this, and he's ready for the next step. And quite honestly, I think that we kind of are at that stage. I mean, with this topic, it wouldn't blow the public's mind to receive this information. I do feel like we're ready for the truth and have been. for quite some time now. And, I like kind of what Kevin Day had said, where this needs to be taught in schools. There's a whole alternate history that needs to be softly and gently given to us without it disrupting anyone's foundation and core beliefs. But the shift needs to happen. And the fact is that we're not seeing it just shows how massive it is and how they're really not, we're going to have to pull teeth if we're going to take that step at this point, because boy, have they just shut down this topic.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. If the SCU continues to grow and doesn't monitor themselves properly, okay,
they'll get
that could
infiltrated.
happen to them too.
Yeah.
Very easily. If they're not monitoring who is joining their group, if they're not monitoring where they come from, where are they working, this could happen to them too.
Great point.
Okay. So that's why I said right off the bat, from an objective point of view, who is the SCU working for?
I see.
Are they working for the public, or are they working for other reasons?
Right. And I know we're going to have a public interview with Bob Lazar coming up here soon. And sure enough, who's going to be sitting in there with him but Richard Doty? And you're like, why? Why?
I hear you.
Why does that have to be?
Tim, I'm taking a quick break here. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I want to continue this.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stay up with you a little longer.
If you got to get going, that's fine too.
I'll stick around for another 15 minutes. For sure. Cool. I'll just say hi to everyone in your chat. I definitely have time for that. I've got chat up here. So I'm seeing Thurston didn't actually go to bed. He's still up. But yeah, Lazar, I know, right? What a character. But yeah, it's definitely interesting times. You don't want to be taking your information from people that have worked for the CIA, or any government agency for that matter. You're not trying to get new information from those people. Absolutely not. And so the Lazar interview is going to be on Kurt Jamungel's Theory of Everything a week or two from now. You can check TOE. But Kurt Jamungel, I believe 3 people are going to be in on that interview, not just Bob. I'm forgetting the third. Yeah, Richard Doty, Bob Lazar, and I can't remember the third, but it's going to be great. So, yeah. Right, YJ, you're absolutely right. Western culture being under attack, and ufology is just one more brick in that wall. It's not about ufology. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so Dark Protocol, you're saying the problem with public groups are just there to make entertainment, tear in the sky. I saw more of William Shatner's face than the actual UAP captures in that doc. Underwhelming. Totally fair. Absolutely fair statement. I would have loved more video. And it's unfortunate that the only good capture happened with, I believe, a cell phone capture through either a telescope or a binocular. Obviously, they had the UAP DAP system that captured the tear in the sky itself. But yeah, I can agree with you on that. The next one, I think, will be better. I know they're definitely in process there. So, but we're seeing Ye and Sarah Yon. Cat Chaser stayed up a little later with us. It's probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning for Cat Chaser. Let's see. World Bigfoot Radio, what's up? Oh, he's talking to Cat. Okay. But let's see what else here. Oh yeah, Steam Train Mark, right on. The video presentation with John Alexander is really good. The presentation from yeah, that was excellent. And then let's see what else we have here. Penny Van, what's up? The Ocean's Deep Woo, you're still here. with your eyes closed. Jenny White Bear is out there. Good evening. Joe Monk, what's up? And David Lyle is thanking Dave for sticking up for experiencers. He says, I could film a shark swimming by and no one would blink an eye. If I post a large white orb going right over my head with no sound, then here comes the drama. You're so right. It is a strange community. We should be united in every way and supporting each other. I 100% agree with that sentiment and can relate. Being somebody new to this, if there wasn't a community like you guys, I wouldn't be here. The fact that you're welcoming, and my sighting wasn't massive. It impacted me and my family massively, but compared to what I've learned as other people's experiences, yeah, there's a lot going on out there, and it's incredible. And I can't believe that people live their day-to-day lives with this knowledge, Dave included for that matter. That is the biggest mind blower for me, is that people have this knowledge and they're able to still go shopping, take care of their kids, do their job, and maintain sanity. That's tough. That's got to be a big wow.
Go
ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, like, how you find that balance. Good night, Jim.
I come to this show. I'm going to open up here for a second.
Please.
I come to this show each and every night bothered by what I am seeing in the UFO world. Bothered by what I can't get out. There are so many behind the scenes conversations going on that if the public really knew about those conversations, they would be just as frustrated as I am about everything. It's to the point now where in some of the private groups I'm in, I don't even pay attention to them anymore because it's useless. They don't want to hear. They don't want to know. Right? And to try and transcribe that to an audience that is just wanting to know what the truth is, Tim, it's hard. It's difficult. Okay? It's difficult knowing that there are answers out there of crash retrievals of alien bodies going on behind the scenes, and nobody wants to talk about it publicly. It's hard to look our audience in the eyes, and this is why we're kind of focusing more on the experiential side of everything, because the one thing the scientific community and even the military side refuses to delve into with this is how many people are hurting over this topic. None of us asked for this, Tim. There's not a single experiencer out there who's experienced things from childhood right to whatever age they are now who asked for this. Okay? And the only thing that the majority of these people want, myself included, is to know why. But instead, the scientific community treats us like crap. The public community treats us like laughing stocks. The people who we think are on our side are not on our side. And yet there are people out there, whether they call themselves UFO activists or researchers or writers or authors, they don't give two shits about what we're going through, because the majority of them who are in this topic have never experienced what it's like to be traumatized by a UFO landing on the ground or having an alien gray stare at you while you're lying in bed. They don't know that feeling. They don't know the fear of paralysis that you get when they're around. What it's like to be absolutely petrified, Tim, to know that you are lying awake in bed on your side and you know behind you there is a creature standing there and you're too afraid to turn and look. I've had that happen about 5 times. They don't know what it's like to sit there and feel that gravitational pull when you're yelling at them, no, I don't want to go today, and they don't care. They being the aliens. They don't know. They don't care. And the experiencer is left all alone trying to put these puzzle pieces together because nobody gives a shit about them. We want dots. We want technology. We want to know how their propulsion systems work. How did they get here? Okay? For the experiencer, we already know. But the scientific community, outside of very few like Gary Nolan, are actually tapping our brains to figure out what it's like. Okay? The military side just wants it for them. Go ahead, Tim.
What would be a positive end game for an experiencer like yourself? What could happen? Are you looking for an explanation? Are you looking for it to stop? Are you looking for the public to know and accept it massively? Or, I mean, you're not waiting for government disclosure. Obviously, none of us are necessarily. But what is an ideal end game for someone in your position? How could this topic be broached? Or what would you like to see happen with this topic? I'll just leave it at that.
Well, like I said, I would love to see the SCU. Excuse me, I got something in my eye.
Okay.
I would love to see a group like the SCU, okay, tell us they're working for us. I mean, you look, buddy, we have caught NASA lying, red-handed. If this was any other news topic outside of aliens, NASA would be busted for it. Okay? Yeah. They would be busted for it. But because it's aliens, they're not busted. How many other shows have you listened to or our public listened to where they have literally bent over backwards to come out and show you how NASA is lying? Right? The public needs people to speak for them, not assume what's going on, but to speak the public's truth. Why are we experiencing this? Why was I taken? Why is my child being taken? And I can't stop it. I can't protect my child. How would you like it? You got 4 kids. How would you like it if one of your children came up to you and said, Daddy, I think I'm being taken at night? How would you react?
Yeah.
You would be, Tim, I guarantee you would be scared, because once your child tells you what they've experienced, and knowing as a parent you cannot protect your child from this, it's eerie. Okay? It's downright scary.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But nobody wants to work with the public. The biggest embarrassment the scientific community has with the field of ufology is people like me. Okay. I don't give a shit about how a craft can go from 80,000 feet to above 10 feet above sea level in 0.78 seconds, like Kevin Day says. It's impressive. Makes me say, wow, but it doesn't affect me whatsoever.
Do you feel like this will soften the public, though, for the truth that you have? Like, don't you feel like we need to make steps before they're hit with the, I mean, let's be honest, the scary truth of what a lot of experiencers are going through?
But it's not just about that. That's the collaboration of it all. For the time being, we need to at least have a community of scientists who come out and say, these people are real. These experiencers are real. Like Gary Nolan has tried to do, but it got swept under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We need the SCU not to worry about dots and about videos. Okay. There's millions of videos out there. You just have to go on YouTube or TikTok. Okay.
So you're saying
Quality
research
people.
more in experiencers, get close to experiencers and get their story and perhaps medically research them?
Research them. Research the people.
Okay.
If you have an idea, what about, there's dozens of people that Grant Cameron has interviewed who claim that they have flown the craft.
Yeah.
Okay. I talked to a 12-year-old girl. She's probably 16 now. Okay. I talked to a 12-year-old girl who flew the craft. I said, how did you do it? She goes, I don't know. I just sat in the chair and it went wherever I asked it to go.
I want to do that.
Okay. And this is why I've told people, go back and watch the Disney movie Flight of the Navigator.
Great movie.
That movie is completely ahead of its time from 1986 to what we are talking about right now. Okay? A child flying a craft with missing time. Years of missing time. Okay? And the problem is we want to politicize this topic. We need the SCU not to be politicized. We need the SCU to be working for the proper information that we can get out of them to figure out everything. It's not just about the technology. It's about where are these coming from? Are they coming from inner Earth? Are they coming from outer space? Are they time travelers coming from different dimensions? Dark protocol. What's evidence? What's proof? Okay. Answer me the question, what is proof? Okay. There's plenty of evidence. Plenty of evidence.
Yeah, empirical data exists. There is definitely.
There is thousands of pieces of evidence.
Yeah.
Granted, most of it is anecdotal. Okay. But guess what? Anecdotal evidence holds up in a court of law as an eyewitness.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, that evidence is good enough to put a murderer away or a thief away or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't have the proof of a camera or a videotape. And if you do have the proof of a videotape or a camera, nobody believes you in today's day and age anyways.
Yeah. I mean, the work of John Mack and others like him are available, but you can see that these experiences were not from people that were on medication, drinking, on drugs, out of any kind of normal lifestyle. These were absolutely everyday people. And 99.9%, I think, of experiencers are. You know, they're not disillusioned, mental patients,
Right.
right? These are just regular people.
I've explained this story on our show a number of times. I woke up with scratches on my back. I said to myself and my partner, I need to take a picture of this. I remembered 4 hours later. I go back, I look in the mirror, the scratches are gone. There's not even any scarring. They vanished, they disappeared. And these things were bright red. Okay? I wanted to take photos of them, and I forgot. Why did I forget?
Oh boy. Well, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like
that sort of thing is common.
I looked in the mirror. Okay, this is exactly what happened. I looked in the mirror. My partner said to me, she says, "What's that about?" I said, "I don't know. We better photograph it." Right? Because it was stuttering scratches like a cat, about 4 inches long. If one of my cats would have scratched me, I would have remembered.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I would have screamed. They were long. They were 4 inches long each. And they were like stuttering like a cat's. Okay? And by the time I saw it in the mirror, I said, well, I'm going to take a piss. I walked over to my bath, my toilet, stood there, took a piss, and 4 hours later, I remembered about it. And when I called my partner in to look at those scratches on my back that were now gone, she did not remember. No, it's not good stories. See, this is where, why are you in this field, Dark Protocol, if you're not willing to accept the evidence? Okay? The chicken shit way out is good stories. That's the chicken shit way out of this. And yes, I am worked up about it.
You lived it. I mean, it's understandable.
I lived it.
And there's an intense psychology that goes along with this. And the fact that parts of it you're forgetting and then remembering, that's got to be frustrating. And I'm sure you're not alone in that. That is a very common thing for people that interact with the phenomenon like you have.
And that, it's comments like that, the reason why this field will never move forward. Because somebody like Dark Protocol, there is not a piece of evidence that will ever be good enough for them. If it's a video, it's doctored. If it's a photograph, it's photoshopped. If it's lights way far away, that's a constellation. Part of a constellation. Because there's triangles all over the sky. Okay?
Right.
And that's the problem we have. There is no such thing as proof. There is no such thing as evidence.
Yeah. And you made a great point earlier. Experiencers do not choose this. It's not career enhancing. Dave's not here for his health benefits. He's here because it is a gnawing part of his life that he's trying to share. So the quote unquote stories that you're hearing are something that he had to live. And I don't mean that to demean what you've gone through or to, shorten that up, but I think it's important to initialize the fact that this is a reality to you. And the fact that it's hard for me to understand and to even imagine, and Dark Protocol is having a hard time accepting that as a reality, just proves exactly what you're saying, that it is so hard to even, because I'm sure Dark Protocol is a sweet person, right? And a genuinely awesome, open-minded person. But this is such a massively, it's big. It is such a big reality to have to wrap your head around. And a big part of me doesn't want to believe you, Dave, because it's terrifying. Like, it would be much easier to be like, man, that was, wow, what
that's
a story.
Story.
That's Dave's reality. Story. And to Dave, he believes it.
Here's the
thing. I can't
demean
demean your story by just doing that.
Here's the thing. Do you think I want to be doing this show?
Right.
Look, yes, SOR has become a business. Okay? We don't make a ton of money.
Nope.
We don't. You know that. You've
Yeah.
you've seen the numbers.
Yeah.
We don't make a ton of money.
That's not why we're here.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
I could be spending each and every night doing a little bit more important things, like putting my son to bed, help it. Like tonight, right before I went in studio, I have this little hockey board, okay, because he loves hockey, loves
Yeah.
playing hockey, and I was teaching him a few things on the board, like during a game, where to stand, where to be. I would sooner be doing that. I would sooner be on, we're getting close to Christmas. I don't like wrapping Christmas presents at 1:00 in the morning. I would like to be hanging out with my family, wrapping Christmas presents at 7:00 at night, 8:00 at night, 9:00 at night. That's what I would said. Hold on. He goes, yeah, you said yourself if the government paid you off, you would take it and leave. We get it. We all have to make that mortgage. Dude, I would in a second. Hey, that's been a popular question lately. If the government paid you the money, okay, or was going to give you all the answers, would you walk away? Absolutely. No problem with that.
I think
So I'm
everyone
not sure.
would. You're not alone.
I'm not
Every
sure.
one of us would do that. That's not an
Yeah.
unpopular
But
choice.
But you see, here's what we're going through, Tim. How
Yeah.
many times have you heard me say we get people who look for those aha gotcha moments?
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what we're dealing with right here is an aha gotcha,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Potentially.
I
But
mean,
here, here's the thing. You at the same rate, Dave, and I'm not sticking up for anyone here, but this is a tough subject, man. And so for someone to
is.
be like, yeah, I had an alien experience, to someone that it has only heard nutters say that, it's too hard.
you
It's
don't
too
know
hard.
if they're nutters.
But
Here's the thing.
I
How
know
many
you. I
people
know,
walk-
but I'm just saying nutters very generally because that's the way it's
Agreed.
been
Okay.
interpreted up until this point. And so by no means am I saying that I feel I'm saying nutters as one of those terms that we've been all called because. Man, I'm there too. Look, I'm on your show. So
No, dude. Hey,
yeah,
that's a great
yeah,
point.
yeah,
That's a great point. Okay. But think about this, dude. How many people were locked away in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s into loony bins because they were being chased by aliens? And they
Right.
may not have been psychotic.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
They may not have been, right? We don't know. We'll never know. Okay. Thanks to the internet, we're allowed to express these feelings. And like I said, I have better thing in reality. I have better things to do with my time than to play radio 5 nights a week.
and open yourself up to this.
Absolutely.
You are a very honest and genuine person, and you started this out after you came back from the restroom by saying, "I'm going to get very personal." That's not something that somebody does when they're about to lend you a line of bullshit. This is something that's hard to talk
It
about.
hurts, dude.
And
It
you're not out
hurts.
here looking to be scrutinized by the public. You're out here just to talk about a topic that's real. And
Absolutely.
that's
Look,
it.
I'm gonna have critics like Dark Protocol. I'm okay with that. That's
Yeah.
why I let him say, he's in our
It's
chat room.
hard. Yeah,
He's
it's a
not
hard
hurting anybody
topic.
being here. He's
Yeah,
not
and
hurting anybody
he's
being here.
also not alone in having
Exactly.
your experiences and my experiences, all
Absolutely.
this being hard to take and even my minor experience with my family, and I say minor because the general public may see it as minor. It wasn't to me, but my point is that it's up to the person and their interpretation. To an outsider, my story and what happened to me was probably like, man, it was just up in the sky. What are you worried about? But to me, it changed my whole life and my career. It wasn't career enhancing. It wasn't something that I wanted to spend a lot of my time on. It was nothing I'd ever thought about before that day, ever. And to be honest, I would feel like Dark Protocol potentially if I was in your chat meeting you for the first time and hearing that. I'd
Absolutely.
be like, wow, what a story. I might be open to it, but I would call it a story and I wouldn't call it an experience because I hadn't gotten there yet. And you have to suspend your disbelief in this field or you're going to get nowhere, because the fact is it's tapping into consciousness, and that is something that is extremely hard to even grasp.
Mhm.
So if go ahead, because I see you're
Couple
ready to have a
comments
thought.
here. Von Patrick saying, Dave, I've seen it firsthand. There is a thought that mentally ill people are actually normal and we without a diagnosis are ill. You know, that's a strong comment right there.
Yeah.
David Lyle, we have to speak out. The ETs have chosen us. We have to talk about it. When you are a fighter, you fight back, not going to be silent.
Good for you for saying that.
Pam, closed-minded people aren't capable of seeing the truth. They don't want to, you know?
Yeah, it's not
You
easy
know, I mean,
attaching your name and your face to something like this either, and talking about something that's fringe. It's not easy. None of us really want to publicly be torn up, on something like this. But at the same rate, it's compelling. And the fact is, it's absolutely 100% real to the people that have experienced it. And so for someone to come in and be like, oh, it's just a story, that just negates the whole experience. And you're missing out on a lot of important experiencers' information.
exactly.
And it's unfortunate for you.
But when the scientific community, which everybody seems to be leaning towards the last couple of years, negates a giant part of what is happening in the UFO world, whether they feel we're ready for that or not, okay? It's like telling a part of the public, you're not allowed to vote for whatever reason.
Yeah. And so what I'm
Okay.
hearing you say very clearly is that in organizations like SU, there needs to be at least a department of it or something that
Common
is
ground.
looking
Common ground.
into. Yeah, that makes absolute sense.
Okay.
That makes
We're not,
absolute sense.
look, experiencers aren't asking for the world.
Right.
Okay. And every experiencer asks for something different. But the one thing we all have in common is we just want to know, why me? That's it.
Yeah.
Why me? And the scientific community doesn't want to go, for the most part, does not want to go down that road of thinking yet because it's too hard to study.
Right.
Okay.
And can I
It's
just
too
reiterate?
difficult to bring credibility to it.
Experiences are very personal and real to that individual too. And so it doesn't matter what any skeptic says, that's your reality and absolutely your truth. And so
Absolutely.
the fact that you answered that question, that of course I would do anything for the truth. I would sell out. You'd never see me again if I was given the truth. Well, you got into this for that. I got into this for that. If I had gotten the truth the day after my experience, you and I never would have met. Right?
Yeah.
If someone had handed me a check and said, Tim, stop looking for the truth, and if you find it, don't tell. Now that might not be a check I would take, because I can't stop looking. Right?
If the Canadian government came up to me tomorrow and said, we're going to hire you to be on our woo desk, this is your salary, this is your pension, this is what we need you to do, but you got to give up your radio show. Oh yeah. How could you not? You get to be a part of the woo desk, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a big decision for me, but I can guarantee you I know which way I'm going because I want answers.
Yeah.
And maybe that influence of somebody like me, hypothetically, of course, maybe that influence could open up the doors to further study and opening up the fuller disclosure era.
Yeah, which is exactly why you'd never get the job.
Exactly.
You're too progressive.
Exactly. But
yeah,
but I guess what I'm saying is, and somebody said it here really well. Penny said it well. No one has the right to tell another their experiences are crazy. Okay. Look, I have experienced some weird ass shit over the last 11 years. And like I said, the majority of us experiencers have never asked for this. Whether it's hauntings, whether it's Sasquatch, whether it's out-of-body experiences, astral travel, aliens, ghosts, or whatever. We didn't ask for this. We've been brought into this. Okay?
yeah.
And as soon as people start comprehending that that the experiencer is different from the experience. I know there's one former host out there going around saying, I'm an experiencer too. I saw dots when I was 15 years old. It's not an experiencer.
Right.
You had an experience. You saw something, but you're not an experiencer. You have no idea what it's like to move it from the pendulum moving one day to the next. And more people, Tim, are coming out as multiple experiencers, where it started off with paranormal, then it went to the cryptid world, then UFOs or something along that line. Hold on, which is why y'all should join. Okay, so we know Dark Protocol is American because he used the word y'all. Which is why y'all should join Space Force and work it from the inside. The fact that 90% would never pass the training still means there's a few inside. And that's a good comment. And Dark Protocol, I just want to say something to you. I've been pretty hard on you tonight, okay? But I do appreciate the other point of view. Yeah. I think this has been good conversation, and you bring a lot to the table, and we need that. Okay, we do need that, and that's why I haven't blocked you. That's why we haven't timed you out or anything like that. You haven't. Number one, you haven't deserved it, but number two, you're bringing, questions that you have. It's your choice whether or not you want to believe me or anybody. But I appreciate you bringing that to the table. I do. I couldn't get hired by Space Force because I'm Canadian. That's why I have to go to the Canadian Woo desk when they finally make one. And trust me, I have talked to politicians about the Woo desk to try and sneak my way in there. I have. I will. But anyways, we're about to go around in circles here, Tim.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just going to say, we keep it unbiased. That's what the UFO report is all about. Thank you so much for staying up later with me, Dave. It's always fun. And your chat is
I appreciate
fantastic.
you being here. I love chatting this subject with you because you make me think. Tim, you get a lot out of me. And I appreciate that. I do.
Comes from a big thank
you
tonight,
my
friend.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Big thank you tonight to Typical Skeptics, Stephen, Tim, Samantha, Thomas, Deb, Surf Jer, Kira, Cat Chaser, Deb again, and Monica for the super chats. Thank you so much. Tomorrow night on the show, Varla Ventura comes in, and we are talking about our cryptid world. Wednesday, we have Dan Warren from TikTok UFO. Thursday, we have Homer Hickam, the Rocket Boy, coming on in to chat some going back to the moon and rockets and going to Mars. It's going to be incredible. Friday is the round table, and we'll have a lot of fun around that as well. It's going to be a great week here on Spaced Out Radio. Don't forget to do a little shopping at our store, spacedoutradio.com, and we will see you all tomorrow night. Timmy, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
Later.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.